Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. Of course, we are here live ahead of FPL Game Week 27. And I feel like a lot of people have a lot to decide this week. I don't think it's necessarily with transfers. I actually think it's with captaincy this week. There are so many fantastic captaincy options that people could, of course, be picking up this game week. Obviously, you've got your usual big boys. You've got your Haaland. You've got your Bruno Fernandezes. You've obviously got your Chelsea players this week with a great fixture up against Burnley. Palmer, João Pedro looking like cracking options. And as you can see from my screen currently, we've got Morgan Rogers captain. So we'll see how that one progresses throughout the stream. I don't think it will end up like that. But for now, Morgan Rogers is my captain heading into this game week. Of course, all of that can change throughout today's stream. Any questions you do have, get them in there as always. Of course, we'll be doing team reviews over on Discord like we always do as well. So make sure you are joining the FPL Cartel Discord. Link for that is in the description and, of course, the pinned comment as well. And that is the place, like I said, where you can get your teams reviewed. If you are in here nice and early as well, make sure you are liking today's stream. It does push it out to more people. Get your comments in as well, as we'll try and answer as many as we possibly can throughout, of course, the next 2-3-ish hours that we're going to be live. So yeah, any questions that you do have, please do get them in, and we'll try and answer as many as we possibly can in the allotted time that we have together. All right. Octavius Exo says, hi, Tom. Love from India. Big up, man. Hope you're doing well today. Baller8 says, hi, Tom. Hey, guys. Hope you're doing good. Hope you are doing good. Obviously, the other day, I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, I think it might have been yesterday, was the 4-year anniversary of the channel. Obviously, we started making content about 4 years ago, and now we're in a position where, you know, we've got 26,000 subscribers. You know, we've got thousands of people following us on TikTok as well. I think it's like 67,000 followers on there. We're getting loads of people in the streams, loads of people obviously liking the videos and watching the videos and all that good jazz. And yeah, I mean, we're in a position where things are cooking. Things are cooking, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for, of course, your continued support on the channel. It really, really is appreciated. So yeah, thank you very much. And let's see where the next, I don't know, 4 years, 10 years, however long we keep doing this, takes us as well. Baller8 says, I'm set on the Palmer captain this week. I think if I had Palmer, I definitely would be considering him for captaincy this week. I do think him and João Pedro look like absolutely fantastic options. Having watched Burnley play last weekend, they are a dreadful side. They are really, really poor, and definitely a side I do feel that, you know, you can exploit. So yeah, I think I would go for it if I've got it. Start Mateus Nunes, Senesi, Tarkowski, or Mane. Ooh, that's a good one. I personally would probably go Nunes. I know it's a bit of a rogue one, but yeah, he probably would be the one I would go for this week, you know. Yeah, he probably would be the one. Senesi could also be a decent shout. West Ham have conceded the most goals to centre-back, so could be a game where he actually gets an attack in return. However, Bournemouth have conceded the second most away goals this season, only behind Wolves. So it's kind of one of those, isn't it, where I would probably say one of the centre-backs for Bournemouth is probably going to get an attack in return, but at the same time, they're probably not going to keep a clean sheet. Tarkowski, you never know. They could surprise Manchester United on Monday night. Could be an okay option. Mane, probably not the one for me, but Palace have been struggling in recent weeks. But I personally would probably go Nunes on that one. Thank you, man. John says, hi, seek for advice to bench one of between Alderente, VVD, and Dewsbury Hall. I think off my gut instinct, it probably would be maybe Dewsbury Hall. I actually think Virgil van Dijk and Alderente could actually do quite well this week. So yeah, my gut would be telling me Dewsbury Hall on that one. Rodgers as captain is an interesting pick, but I also have Rodgers in my team, so I hope it goes well for you. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to necessarily stay. We'll see how we line up, obviously, heading into the game week. But yeah, I was looking at the data yesterday. So For cams, Leeds are third for goal involvement concede. From right wingers, it is first. Now, if Rodgers obviously drifts out onto the right, that's fantastic for us. It's an area that they really, really struggle with down that right-hand side because they're also the leading side from goals conceded by right-backs as well. So it does make, that right-hand side and also the cams pretty, luxurious. The problem is Rodgers has been very inconsistent with his point scoring. That is the problem. But I do think we've got a week here where captaincy is very open. I feel if people have got the Chelsea assets, the João Pedros, the Palmers, they are probably looking at them for captaincy this week. Of course, if you haven't got those players, I do feel it's probably a little bit open. It looks like from the poll, people are probably still going to go Haaland. I get it. Like, if he's fit, not bad. But Newcastle aren't terrible from conceding from forwards. I think they're like 10th for goal involvements from forwards this season. So, Haaland could very easily concede in that game, but it's one of those where maybe this week is a week to potentially go against him and look at some other alternative fun options potentially as well. Hi, Tom. Who should I play, Enzo or Rodgers? I would want both playing. Surely there's got to be like someone else you can bench there. Enzo to Wirtz next game week. That seems like a pretty wise move as well. The fixtures do tighten up a little bit for Chelsea. Of course, the Liverpool fixtures are pretty decent. So, yeah, I don't mind that. Remember, though, too, my priority personally would be looking to take out players that probably blank in game week 31. So if you've got a plethora of those, maybe looking to, potentially get rid of those first before, of course, taking out a player who does actually have an okay fixture in game week 31 might be the better route in my personal opinion. If you are enjoying today's stream, guys, like I said, make sure you are hitting that like button. It is really appreciated. Let's see if we can get the stream up to 50 likes nice and early. It does push it out to more people, and that is exactly what we want to be doing on the channel as well. If you are new as well, make sure you're hitting subscribe. We're on that road to 30,000 subscribers before the end of the season. And if you want your team reviewing, you know the drill by now. Head to the FPL Cartel link in the description, or of course in the pinned comment as well. Shall I play Hill or Chalobah? Easy one, that one. It is going to be Chalobah every single day of the week for me. Like I said, Bournemouth have conceded a lot of goals away from home. They are the second worst side for goals conceded away from home in the Premier League. Chelsea have the best clean sheet numbers this week up against Burnley. Yeah, that one for me makes sense. And also Chalobah is an absolute beast as well as points per game. Very, very decent. Hello, Tom. Thinking about selling Rice for Dango, or should I wait for the next game? I think you could easily wait for the next game. Like, it's definitely a possibility. I think Rice could do, fairly well this week. We saw him do quite well over the double game week. He's a player that will continue just to pick up points quite nicely. That's what his MO has been pretty much most of the season. I wouldn't be expecting, Rice to probably hit like a double-digit haul, but he's still probably going to come away with like some DEFCON, maybe an attacking return in there as well. We don't know. But Dango is a really exciting upside pick over the next few weeks. If he does deliver, he could be great. But again, maybe you could just give it one more week, give Rice another week and see how the land lies a little bit. There might be another option that just filters through a little bit. Start Raya or Martinez? I'd be tempted to play Martinez this week. Yeah, I think I probably would. Haaland or Bruno Cap this week? I think if I'm not going to go with Rodgers, I probably will end up sticking it on Haaland. Everton are quite good at keeping things tight from the back from cams. However, they have actually conceded the most goal involvements to centre back. So it could be one of those where Bruno maybe gets an assist from like a set piece and a Maguire goal or something like that. That's maybe something we could see from that one. Is João Pedro essential this week? I mean, I haven't got him, but I really do feel like I need a massive sofa to watch that Chelsea game at 3. So yeah. Start Donnarumma or Kelleher? I think I'm not quite. I don't remember who's got the best clean sheet odds there. I would be more tempted to probably play Kelleher, I think. But yeah, see who's got the better clean sheet odds. We'll have a look if I've still got the slide available. Hi, Tom. Good morning. Who to pick to start? Hill or Alderente? Thanks a lot. I would actually go Alderente. I think Sunderland at home are really, really good. And I think this is a great fixture to be playing your Sunderland defenders. Like I said, Bournemouth a little bit leaky. I know Hill's been very consistent in terms of his DEFCON and obviously picking up quite a few attacking returns. But the clean sheets away from home have been very few and far between. And the goals conceded have been plenty for Bournemouth away. So, yeah, I probably would go with that one. I bought in Sunderland defender Sirkin as a differential. Is he playing games? I know he was playing games last year. He was an EFL legend, but I can't remember if he's playing games this season. Hi, Tom. Should I play Wilson or Mook? I would personally play Mook. Start Timber or Van der Berg? I would probably still go Timber on that one. However, Timber is one of the players that I am thinking about maybe looking at a transfer out this week. Sorry, just my nose started dripping a bit then. He is a player that I might be looking to transfer out this week. The Jump the Wave predictions had him at around, I think it was 80%. In all the predictions. So, there is some doubts heading into this game whether or not Urian Timber does start. Now, there's still a high percentage that do believe he does start. However, if I were to take him out this week, I think my replacement would be Virgil van Dijk. They've got some great fixtures coming up over the next few weeks. Have Liverpool. They've also got, some of the best clean sheet odds, of course, behind Arsenal, who are absolutely ridiculous. And then, they've got a fixture in blank game week 31, and they also potentially double in 33. So it puts them in a nice place where Van Dijk could be a player that builds a lot of value over the next few weeks. Play Mook or Virgil van Dijk? I would probably actually still play Mook. Like I said, Virgil van Dijk this week can probably wait 1 week for me personally. But yeah, I probably would still go with that one. Convinced me to captain Rodgers. He got 2 goals against Leeds earlier in the season. He did indeed. He had an absolute field day against Leeds earlier in the season. Maguire or Hill for this week? I would actually genuinely go Maguire. Like I said, Everton have conceded most of their goal involvements from centre-backs. Like, that is the big proportion of where their goals conceded have come from so far this season. So, for me personally, yeah, I think Maguire could be one of those players that does score as well. Hi, Tom. Should I take out Saliba for Virgil van Dijk? I have Gabriel already. Yeah, again, I think you could leave it for maybe 1 more week. Arsenal still have pretty decent clean sheet odds this week. But yeah, if you are thinking about if you've got a transfer lying around, then yeah, I definitely think it is a very good play. I couldn't replace Xhaka. Now he's fit. I have to choose between him and Hill. What do you suggest? Team News says he's fit, but I don't know if he'd start. I think I would probably still go with Hill this week. Maybe just see what the land lies with Xhaka. But if he's back for next week, then yeah, he'll be a pretty steady Eddie over the next few weeks as well. You should bench boost low key. I know the bench boost wouldn't even be a bad option, would it? We're saving it for the double game week, but yeah, it's again a week where we could end up with quite a few points on the bench. Or at the same time, Sunderland have only lost 1 at home. Bournemouth are pretty poor away from home. We don't know how the new manager and DEFCON is going to work with Elliot Anderson. Interestingly, against Fenerbahce, he only got 3 defensive contributions. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see if he's still going to be an absolute beast in that metric. Hi, Tom. Bench 1, Ekatike, Rodgers, Rice. Oh, my days. That is a toughie. That is such a toughie. I really wouldn't want to bench any of them. Like, surely there's got to be somebody else out there. Talk me through the rest of your team, man. Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate that, David. We're trying our best. I bench Vicario for Henderson. I mean, I would definitely play Henderson against Wolves. I still would. I know Crystal Palace have been poor, but I still think you probably play your Crystal Palace assets this week if you've got them. Any good differential picks for the midfield? I think Dango Otara, Kevin Schade definitely fall into that category of differential midfielders as well. You've got Ryan as well from Bournemouth, but it does look like Tavernier is going to be back, so I'm probably a little bit put off by him over the next few weeks. And I think Tavernier probably not going to play this week, but will be a differential option over the next few as well. Bernardo Silva, not really for me. Like, I get it, they're good fixtures, the guaranteed starts, but there's not really too much in terms of FPL points. Like, his points per game this season, not great. Not great as well. Semenyo or Wirtz? I would rather play Semenyo this week. I really like Semenyo. Richards or Dalot to bench? I personally would probably still play Richards. I know, like I said, Crystal Palace haven't quite been at the races and have been a little bit floppy in the past few weeks, but for me personally, I still would probably play Richards as well. We do have the model as well to help with any, of course, benching decisions. Let's bring that up quickly for you guys. So yeah, this is a model that I have built myself. It is available in the FPL cartel if you want to come and have a full look at it for yourself. But if anybody's got any benching decisions for this game week, we of course can take a look for you as well. In terms of the top predicted points for this game week, it does have Haaland top. It has Salah second. I really think if you are looking for a very mega differential over the next few weeks, Salah could be a great guy. And interestingly, Forest have actually conceded quite a lot of goal involvements to right wingers as well. So maybe Mohamed Salah could have a big explosive game today. Palmer and João Pedro, obviously. Munoz, if you've got him, definitely worth playing him. Bruno Fernandes, Semenyo, Bowen. my model absolutely loves Bowen, and I do think this could be a great fixture for Bowen this week. Gabriel, and of course, Rogers here as well. Someone asked me about Chalobah, also quite high up on this list as well. And Buemo, Sarr, Enzo, Mook, Ballard. Yeah, so any of the Sunderland defenders I definitely would be playing this week. They are predicted to do quite well on the model as well. So if you've got any benching dilemmas you'd like to obviously ask my opinion for, or get the model to take a look, of course, it is here for you and to help you guys out as best as we can as well. So yeah, there you go. Jamie's in the chat. Hope you're doing well, mate. I've just noticed that the new moderators have like a shield now. They used to have like a spanner. Now they've got a shield. So that's cool. Roofs or Raya? Ooh, I think I'd go Roofs. Yeah, I think I would. Gahey for Richards. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but I personally would give any Palace players I've got one more week. I bet. I really wish I'd have gone big on Bowen. I really wish I'd have stuck to my guns and gone big on Bowen. I think that's probably been one of the problems this season is I've not really been playing my game a little bit. I have probably been swayed a little bit by like other community decisions and stuff like that, which is natural. Like it happens. But I definitely do think I've probably got to just start playing my own game a little bit, picking the players I want to pick, and yeah, I go for it. Yeah, I think I prefer the spanner. The shield just looks a bit It looks a bit meh. Do you think Captain Semenyo could be good this week? He's a nice differential option. Like I said, this could be a week where maybe if you haven't got a Chelsea asset, we're looking at some of the differentials, definitely could be the play as well. Would you cap Palmer if you're in the top 10k? 100% yes. Hill, Gahey, or Anderson to play? I probably would go with Gahey, probably, yeah. Is Thiago, Dango, Sharda worth a hit? It's a differential set of moves, but getting Thiago involved, a hit, but I can get Thiago, Sharda for free. I mean, how did it involve a hit and then you getting them for free? I'm a little bit confused by that. Yeah. Yeah, someone's made a great point in the comments. Of course, it is Ramadan as well, so any Muslim-based players might struggle a little bit this week. Obviously, they're fasting and stuff like that, so a bit of fatigue, maybe some benchings as well for certain players that, do struggle during this time period as well. Maybe that is something to potentially consider. If I had a Sunderland defender, I would actually play them ahead of Yuri and Timber this week. They're all doing exceptionally well in the predicted model for my model as well. So yeah, I personally would look to go elsewhere as well. Like I said, guys, if you do want your team reviewing, the best place to come and get that done is over in the FPL Cartel Discord. If, of course, you are enjoying today's stream as well, make sure you're hitting that like button. Let's see if we can get up to 50 likes nice and early on today's stream, as always. And make sure you're hitting that subscribe button as well. We're on that road to... What subscribers are we after? 30k by the end of the season. Yeah. Start Hill or Joachim Anderson? I would actually probably be tempted to start Hill this week ahead of Joachim Anderson, yeah. Like I said, West Ham have conceded the most goal involvements in the Premier League to centre-backs. Hill has actually been pretty decent from set-piece situations in recent weeks and has picked up a few assists. So, yeah, I think he could be a decent little cookie as well. The rest of my team, Haaland, João Pedro, Enzo, and Buemo. Oh, my days. It is really difficult. I probably would then look at maybe Rice. I think he probably would be the one that maybe does get sacrificed there. But I really think whoever you go for could end up with some benching points. I personally would play Szoboszlai. Yep. Haaland will kill my season if it goes wrong. Palmer will struggle, still be under 50%. So I'm happy to go Haaland for it. Yeah, I do think, Palmer's ownership isn't massive, but a lot of people captain him will definitely boost him up. So yeah, I think his EO will probably be about 50. João Pedro scares the living daylight out of me, and it'll probably be like 80 or 90%. So yeah, that is frightening. That is frightening, to be honest. Is that effective ownership? How certain am I on the Rodgers cap? Still deciding. I think, the other options in my team are Haaland or Bruno Fernandes. They're the other picks that I could look to go for. What should I do with Evan Nilsson? Play or upgrade with a hit? have money in the bank. I personally would play him this week. I think it's a fine fixture to definitely play him this week. I know he got an early sub last week, and if that happens again, then definitely would be looking to take him out. But I personally wouldn't do it for a hit right now. Senesi or Anderson? I would actually be tempted to play Senesi. I know they've got poor away data, have Bournemouth. However, he can hit the defensive contributions, and like I said, West Ham have actually conceded the most goal involvement to centre back, so could be a really nice option to go for as well. Alderente or Hill? I personally would start my Sunderland defenders this week ahead of most other defenders as well. So yeah, Alderente ahead of Hill and Mook ahead of Timber for me personally, if I had the choice. Start 2 out of Senesi, Hill, Mane, and Mainu. I think I'd probably look at double Bournemouth defense, Senesi and Hill. I don't really think Mainu and Mane do anything exceptional. So yeah, they're probably the ones for me. I would probably go for the Sunderland goalkeeper ahead of Raya. I think, Raya could still be a fantastic option, but I think, there could be a little bit more points potential out of Roofs this week. Timber to Hill. Gui to Thiago for a -4, worth it. I think you could maybe wait 1 week, but I don't mind that as a -4 move. I really don't. Sell Timber or Rice to fund Gui to Thiago. I probably would personally sell Timber off first. Yeah. Anderson or Senesi? I think I probably would go with Senesi. Hill, I would probably go Hill ahead of Mainu. Start and die, Senesi, Timber, or Alderente. I would personally go Alderente. Yeah, he would be the one for me. Bench Hill or Dango. I'd be more tempted to bench Hill. Have Burnley conceded the more goals from strikers or midfielders? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Ugh. Let's have a look. By the way, I put all this information in the Discord. I did a little bit of a dump. Did a little bit of a dump yesterday about goals conceded. So who was the question about? Burnley, wasn't it? It was about Burnley. Let's have a look. So, we're Chelsea. So Burnley have conceded the second most goal involvements from right wingers and third most in goal involvement from strikers. Now, if Palmer is playing on the right, that looks absolutely fantastic for him. If not, of course, Pedro Neto. But João Pedro, with that third most goal involvements to strikers, really stands out for me. So I do believe probably João Pedro, if he's going to be playing, could actually maybe be a better captaincy shout than Palmer this week. I've just booted the wall and knocked all the lights and cameras and stuff like that. So apologies there. Start Richards or Alderente? Oh, that's a toughie. I still probably go with my Sunderland defenders, on that one. I still probably pick the Alderentes, Big T. Oh, I'm not sure that's going to be a name that's going to stick around. Big T. Yeah, let's not go for it. Morning, Bench and Buemo, Enzo or Wirtz? That is tough. I think Wirtz probably gets the nail there. I probably prefer Buemo and Enzo for this week. Tom, would you kindly explain, mate, why you're captaining Rodgers? Yeah, it's not for definite, but it is a thought that I've had right now. Interestingly, Leeds have conceded the most goal involvements to right wingers in the league. They've also conceded the third most goal involvements to cams as well. So wherever Rodgers plays, cam or on the right, that is an area that Leeds really do struggle with. And I do think he could be a really good pickup this game week as well. So, yeah, I think just regardless of captaincy, he's still a really good shout. I think with captaincy being a little bit open, there is, a room to maybe experiment this week. Of course, the other options that I am thinking about is Haaland up against Newcastle. However, Newcastle have only a 10th, I think, for goal involvements. And I don't think Haaland scored in his last 6 games as well. And then Bruno Fernandes, again, Everton, I think, are 15th for goal involvements from Cam. So it's not an area that, usually concede from. But then there is the fact that they've conceded the most goal involvements to centre-backs. So we might be looking at potentially Bruno maybe picking up some assists from corners, free kicks, stuff like that. So that is where my head is at right now in terms of captaincy for this week. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, one of my recommendations as well on the TikTok video for this week. Reese is in the chat. Hope you're doing good, mate. He says, "Good day, sir. Selling Rice and Timber for Semenyo and Big Verge. Don't want to get stuck with this Arsenal fall off." Fair enough, and that is from an Arsenal fan as well. I rate the moves. I really like Semenyo as long as you can navigate blank game week 31. I think he could be a really explosive pick. And Big Verge as well is a very tasty boy, isn't he? He is a very deed. I'm thinking about maybe going for him for Timber this week as well. So yeah, I rate that move. I'm also questioning if I should captain Rodgers versus Haaland versus Watkins. I think with Watkins, the minutes are a little bit questionable, so it probably rules him out as an option. So yeah, I think you're in a very similar boat to me, Haaland or Rodgers this week. I think we'll probably have a little bit of a coin flip a little bit later on in the stream, but yeah, that's kind of where my head is at on that one. Hi, Tom. If you have the decision, bench Rice or Sobo, I probably would bench Sobo. Yeah, probably would be the one I would bench. Start Timber or Mook. I personally would play my Sunderland defenders ahead of it as well. Tottenham will win 2-0. Oh, my days. If that happens, that would be unbelievable. Best Palmer replacement for 28. If you've got the money, I think Salah could be a great pickup. If not, Mbeumo, Bruno, also very, very steady options. Rodgers as well could also be a nice, tidy pickup as well to potentially look at. So, yeah, there's some decent options over the next few weeks. Captain Haaland or Enzo. I personally probably would go with Haaland on that one, but I don't mind Enzo. Start Hill or Rice or Mook. I personally would go Mook. Yeah, I'd go Mook. Chucking the armband on Semenyo as well. Mate, it could work. Let me have a look at Newcastle's goals conceded. Where do they concede the most from? Because if it's wide players, then you're laughing, aren't you, really? Newcastle have actually conceded the third most goals involvements to centre-backs. So, yeah, there we go. Can I check my Discord? Of course, mate. Of course I can. Let's head over to the Discord. Like I said, guys, if you do want to get your team rated, this is the place to come and do it. It is over in the FPL Cartel Discord, and Janice has kindly sent in their team already, so thank you very much for that one, mate. All you have to do is there is a deadline section. Click the FPL Tom stream section and plonk your team in here with any information, kindly as Janice has done here. Hi, 1 free transfer, 0.4 million in the bank, or roll is the question. And I personally believe that is a very easy roll for this week. Yeah, I personally would look to roll. Yeah. I don't think there's anybody here that I would really want to take out. I'd probably Evan Nielsen if he gets another early substitution, but I think it's a lot. There isn't anybody around the one transfer that you could realistically get him out with. Maybe Thiago. I think they're roughly the same price. So maybe Evan Nielsen to Thiago might be the only player I would recommend maybe moving out. But other than that, you could leave it for 1 week, go and get Thiago next week. Yeah, I think it could be an easy roll. The only move I could envision myself potentially making with that team would be taking out Evan Nielsen and bringing in Thiago. Yeah, there you go. That would be the only moves I would be making. Like I said, if you want to get your team rated, I'll put the link to the FPL Cartel in the description. Get yourselves in there, guys, as well. We do team ratings, we do model ratings, we do absolutely everything. So a lot of good stuff going off in the FPL Cartel at the moment. So yeah, good stuff. Our last man standing competition is also starting up today as well. So if you do get yourself in before the deadline, you can get yourself involved with that one. And currently, we're giving away free months of FPL Cartel for the winner. It's rolled over 3 times already. We've got our monthly prize competitions as well, and of course a big prize at the end of the season. So if you're doing well in FPL at the moment, get yourself in the league for a chance to win the big prize as well. Should I do this week Timber to Van Dijk? I'm thinking about the very same move myself, to be honest, as well. It's probably one I might ask the coin about and decide if it is a decision that I want to go with. But yeah, it's definitely one that I'm thinking about quite heavily here. We're only 4 likes off 50 as well. Nice and early doors already, guys. Absolutely smashing it. So if you are enjoying today's stream, make sure you are hitting that like button. It is really, really appreciated, guys. It really is appreciated. Yeah, I do think it's probably maybe a little bit of a luxury move, but it's definitely a move I think, I wouldn't mind doing this week. I think, gets me in a decent position, and, the rest of the team kind of works for itself, doesn't it, really? So, yeah, I'm all for it. Captain João Pedro or Haaland. If I've got a Chelsea player, a Haaland, a João Pedro or a Palmer, they are definitely getting the armband for me this week. So yeah, Burnley, third most goal involvements conceded from strikers in the Premier League. So yeah, João Pedro for me takes it there. Hill or Rice to start. I personally would go with Rice. As I've said earlier in the stream, Bournemouth have conceded the second most goal involvements away from home in the Premier League. So probably not a side you really want to be backing instead. Take Palmer out for Salah. I think that's a move you do next week, not this week with Burnley on the cards. Obviously, the fixtures do toughen up a little bit for Chelsea with Arsenal, Villa and Newcastle after this game. So yeah, probably like I said, Palmer is a good asset for this week and definitely captaincy. But I think if you've got him and you've got a little bit of money in the bank, or maybe you can roll a transfer this week, look to roll and pick up Salah for the next few weeks. He could be a cracking captaincy option in game week 31 as well. Could also be a pretty nice cookie you do look at in terms of captaincy as well. Yeah, mate, I'm doing the exact same. Like, I'm having a decent season in EFL fantasy. Yeah, I think we're like 200 in the world in that. We're having a great year in UCL fantasy as well. We're at 1.9k, I think. Yeah, something ridiculous like that, 1.9k. Then FPL is just going terribly. It's really going bad this year, isn't it? So yeah, there we go. Start Mook, Rich, or and Die. I personally would go with Mook. Which position have Forest conceded the most goals to? Let me have a look in the Discord. Where have we got it? Let's have a look. So Forest have conceded the 5th most goal involvements from right backs. So maybe if Szoboszlai is playing right back, could be a decent option. And then 7th for goal involvements from right wingers. So it doesn't look like Forest are kind of conceding from one particular area. And then what's it called? So yeah, that to me looks like Salah and whoever's going to play right back should probably get the most joy in this game, but it doesn't seem like, they're absolutely go-tos. We've absolutely just smashed through 50 likes, so thank you very much, guys. Nice and early, really is appreciated as always as well. Where do I get my data from? I get it from a website called XGStat. You have to pay for it, but it is a very, very good website, and I would highly recommend it, especially it helps me a lot of the time with the deadline stream prep. That is one of the main reasons I've got the website, is because, like I said, it's helped me with deadline stream prep, looking at where people concede. And I think I want to use it a little bit more in terms of my captaincy picks as well. I use it on the TikTok as well when I talk about captaincy picks. And last week I was like, Wolves have conceded the most goal involvements to centre mids. Back-to-back weeks, they could then conceded a goal from a centre mid, or were very close to conceding, I think, from Forest. But in the first game, it was right. I mean, the second game, sorry, Rice got obviously the assist. So, it works. And it's worked throughout large parts of this season as well. And I was like, Gabriel was like, they don't really concede to centre-back, so maybe he's not going to do it. And I probably should have looked at that and gone with Rice. So that is what I've used this week. And I've seen that Newcastle don't concede an awful lot to centre mids. Bruno and Everton, they don't concede a lot to cams. But where, of course, one of my players is shining through this week is going to be Enzo Fernandez. And it is looking likely that, he could be a great option this week to go for. So yeah, there we go. I'm enjoying that stat big time. The positional conceding, big ups. Yeah, I do think it is something that I think maybe a lot more of us do need to consider when looking at captaincy options as well, rather than, of course, just looking at predicted points, because predicted points is a great model. But sometimes, it just looks at the points that a player has scored in the past, rather than certain games where certain players will really thrive and do exceptionally well. So yeah, there we go. Tom, would you take a -4 for a keeper? No, keepers are not worth a transfer. Never mind a -4, in my personal opinion. There isn't much upside into swapping around goalkeepers. I personally did it. I can't remember why we got in Pickford for Raya, but we did it. And I mean, yeah, it's one of those. Am I selling Enzo? Potentially. We might go to Dango next week. That might be the fun, exciting pick we go for, but I could very easily keep him, realistically. He could be a player that we do keep for next week. Dean Henderson or Pickford? I personally would go with Dean Henderson. Look, the clean sheet odds are pretty good for this week, so yeah, that's where I would personally go for that one. Bowen, Bournemouth, home to Thiago this week or next week. I think you could probably leave it this week. I think it's a pretty nice fixture for Jared Bowen as well. So yeah, there we go. I personally would wait one more week. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, we are here to help as many out as possible. Timber to VVD, I am also thinking about a very similar move this week, but I'm also tempted to roll, give myself 2 free transfers and really assess how the land does lie next week. I've got no money in the bank, so that is my only concern heading into that week. I personally believe there is very limited upside in goalkeeper transfers. Like, they're the lowest scoring position in the game, and they've been absolutely ruined this season, right? I think FPL Meerkat did a great post earlier in the week talking about the fact that the highest goalkeeper, Raya, for point scoring, there are 25 outfield players above him this season for point scoring. Like, goalkeepers just don't get points. Like, they just don't. They get a 2 or a 6. You may occasionally get like some big double-digit haul out of them, but it's so hard to predict where those big double-digit hauls are going to come from. Usually it's against top sides as well, where they've been absolutely peppered. So for me personally, I don't like goalkeeper to rotation. I don't like transfers on goalkeepers. If I have to do it, then I will do it, but otherwise I probably won't do it. Am I thinking about buying Semenyo? Yeah, he is a player that I do think I've probably got to consider, but the problem is I've got a few, as you can see, players that do blank in game week 31, and I do, of course, need to look to get rid of them. So we've got Haaland and Gabriel, who will probably end up on the bench. So that leaves us then with Rice, Timber, and Richards, who then we've got to get rid of. So yeah, we can roll plenty of transfers, but again, adding another one to the mix, probably not the most ideal as well. Raymond End 420. Have I said that right? Or Raymond 420. There we go. Thank you very much for joining the FPL Tom fan pack, or its original name back in the day was the Soggy Biscuit Club. Yeah, that's what it used to be called. We're now more professional on these streams. Like I said, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, hit that like button, hit subscribe. It is really appreciated. We had the 4-year anniversary of the channel yesterday as well. Yeah, like we're up to nearly 1,000 videos, 26,000 subscribers, 76k on TikTok. Like, genuinely, I can't thank you guys enough. When I started this, I was just doing it like in secret. I wasn't telling anyone, didn't tell my family, didn't tell my friends. Yeah, I was just doing it, and the content, you can go back and watch it. It was pretty crap. So to be in a position that we're in now is, yeah, unreal, genuinely unreal. So thank you very much for your support. Honestly, every single year, I'm amazed how much we grow. So yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep grinding through, see where we get to. Who knows? Maybe by next year, this could be like a full-time thing, or we could be sat on like a monstrous amount of subscribers. But honestly, like I said, your support, ladies and gentlemen, is really appreciated. So thank you for everybody that's been along the journey. And yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Thank you guys for all your kind comments as well. Really do appreciate it. Raya to Kelleher and Dalot to VVD. Is it a good transfer? Again, I've just said I don't really like goalkeeper transfers, so probably not for me. Yeah. Cheers, Jamie. Appreciate that, mate. Morning, Tom. Would you play Harry Wilson or Mook? I would personally play Mook. Chalobah, Munoz to Virgil van Dijk next week. Yeah, I think that's probably the moves I would do. Saw or Ekatike captain. Ooh, okay. Wolves have conceded a fair amount of opportunities to right wingers, so Saw could be an okay option. I'm just going to put it out there. He could be an okay option. Could still be the penalty taker as well. We don't know, but he could still be the penalty taker. I haven't seen anything on Dorgu's potential return. There was nothing in the press conferences I could find yesterday. It was a pretty bland day for press conferences, really. But yeah, nothing I could really find out there. I personally would start Roofs ahead of Raya this week. Captain and Semenyo over Haaland to be different. I don't even hate it. Yeah, I'm not the, it's not one of those things where I personally think it's the worst idea in the world. Yeah, I don't hate it. Best Timber replacement other than Virgil van Dijk. I mean, Van Dijk is obviously going to be championing it because how well he's doing. If we had a look at my model, who's the top defenders for the next few weeks? Let's have a look. Next 5 weeks, defenders, we've got Chalobah's still up there, despite obviously, some more difficult fixtures. His points per game are just absolutely ridiculous. Mook could be a decent option. Maybe a Tyrone Mings, like playing games, hitting DEFCON recently, could be an all right option. Any of the Sunderland lads, they're still pretty high up on this list as well. I don't mind Senesi or Hill as well, could also be pretty steady eddies as well over the next few weeks. So yeah, there's some decent options in there in terms of players to potentially look at for the upcoming weeks. Tom says, "What's happened, bro? What has happened? Are we all good? Has he seen my Rodgers captain for this week? He's definitely seen the Rodgers captain, hasn't he? Will you do João Pedro to Thiago next week? Yeah, I personally would. I'd leave João Pedro. Yeah, I have captain Rodgers. He is currently cap for this week. Best mid under 6.2. I think obviously you've got your Andersons, your Fernandez from West Ham, who's very, very good at DEFCON and has set piece share as well. You've also got Dango Otara. Bro, I don't have any I don't have like the Palmer. I don't have the João Pedro. We got to do something, haven't we? Rate Palmer TC against Burnley out of 5. I'd give it a 3. Would you play Wilson over Timber? Nah, I'd personally play Timber. Start Richards or Ndai. I would personally still go with Richards on that one. Should I put Virgil or Gahey? I would personally go with Gahey this week. I probably would maybe look to sell Cunha over the next few weeks. Some early substitutions. I think he'll start the game, but some early substitutions definitely have put him on the back foot in terms of being a player I probably would want over the next few weeks as well. I personally would probably start Richards ahead of Senesi this week. That's probably the way I would go for it. If I had Timber this week, if I had Mook, this week, I personally would probably go with Mook ahead of Timber. Yeah, I would. Start DCL or KDH. Who've Leeds got this week? I personally would go DCL. Yeah, I personally would go DCL. Penalties, not a bad player for points per game as well. All it takes is one daft decision from Aston Villa. I mean, if Bizzot's back, then those daft decisions are definitely going to be happening all over the shop, aren't they? We're actually quite quickly approaching 100 likes on today's stream. So if you haven't already, make sure you are hitting that like button. It is really appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we're feeling the vibe. We're feeling the vibe at the moment. It's good vibes only. Do it this week to Dango Otara. That will be. I mean, you could wait 1 week. You could genuinely easily wait 1 week and see what maybe Dango Otara is going to happen. Can we hear what the mighty coin has to say? I mean, we can definitely ask the Holy Coin some questions. We can definitely ask the Holy Coin some questions if you guys want to know. Is the Rodgers cap in? Rodgers is indeed cap. He is indeed. I don't know if it's going to stay that way, but we'll have to wait and see. Any news on Cash? He is back, and I definitely would be playing him. Leeds have conceded the most goal involvements to right backs in the league. He would definitely be a player I would want to play this week if I had him. Looks like we've had another team sent over to the Cartel Discord, so let's head over to that and go and check it out for you guys. Thank you very much. It's a boy 065. Love the name, mate. I love the name. What do I do this week, Tom? They've asked me. Cool. Okay, so looks like they could play Verge, Gabriel, Keane if he does play. That could be fine. You've got 2 free transfers. Okay. Right, let's have a look. So, in terms of defenders for this week, I mean, the obvious option would have been Verge, but you've already got Verge. So, I guess we probably are looking at, what are the Sunderland fixtures like? Are they really that bad? Let's have a look. Who have Sunderland got? Fulham, Bournemouth. I don't even mind them as fixtures, I really, really don't mind them. And I don't mind picking up like a Mook and freeing up a little bit of money in that midfield. I really don't. That is something you could look to do. Cucurella down to like a Sunderland defender, for example, or Cucurella to a Hill. I really don't hate that as a move that you potentially could look at. It then gives you money to upgrade, I would say, Mane or Mark Gui. Yeah, I really don't hate doing that. Could that give you enough? If you went Cucurella down, could that do Mane up to Thiago? Would that be enough? Let me know if that is a possibility. If you could do Cucurella down to Hill, and then either Mane or Gay up to a Thiago, that could be something to maybe look at. That's probably what I would be looking to do this week. Because Thiago is going to be a player that I think a lot of people will want in over the next few weeks. So yeah, I don't mind that as a set of moves if that was my team. Yeah. Right, let's head back to the stream, see what you guys have got in store for me. Let's have a look. What we got, guys. Player most likely to score this week for me is Strand Larson. Could be. Play Timber or Truffert. Rice out for a -4 for Rodgers. I personally wouldn't do it for a -4. So yeah, I'd play Timber or Truffert. I mean, I probably would still go with Timber as well. Yeah, I probably would go with Timber. Thoughts on João Pedro captain? Absolutely love it. Burnley are third for goals conceded from forwards, so it looks like a great fixture for João Pedro this week. So yeah, I rate it as a move. Rice to Sharda or something else. Nothing in the bank. I think you could very easily keep Rice for this week. I don't think he's necessarily a player like you need to immediately get out of your side. You could obviously go for Sharda. I don't mind that, but you could also give it a week and maybe see if Dango is the real deal and how Ramadan potentially affects him as well. Play Hill or Gabriel. I personally would play Gabriel. Yeah. Start one of Timber, Wirtz, Mook. I mean, if you've got Roofs in goal, then maybe I would look at a Wirtz this week. He could be a nice option to go for. I personally would not look at Ryan now. The fact that what's it called? Back. Oh my days, what's his name? Tavernier is back in training yet. That probably puts me completely off that move, to be honest. If you want to join the server, this is the link for it. Make sure you are joining there. The FPL cartel. Strand Larson to Thiago or Rice to Wirtz. I'll do the other move next week. I personally think you could wait on both moves. Like, I don't see an immediate impact to bring in both. So yeah, I don't see the immediate desire to bring in both. Yeah, Tavernier is going to be a player I think I might look at next week. If he plays minutes off the bench this week, looks like he's probably going to start next week. I'm really tempted to do Enzo to Tavernier. It is a really exciting option that I am thinking about. Or, of course, we could do Rice to Tavernier. Then it gives us quite a bit of money. We could do Enzo up to like an Embuemo, for example. That could be tasty. Yeah. All right. We'll have the keep. So we've got the heads is going to be keep. Tails is going to be selling for Dango. All right. Tails selling for Dango. The coin has spoken. There we go. You're not tempted to drop Rice for Hill? No. I personally would probably bench Hill or Anderson there. I think Mook's a very easy start. Like I said, if I've got a Sunderland defender this week, very easy starts for me personally. Sell Saka or keep? I mean, Spurs have actually conceded a lot of goal involvements to 10s. So you could keep him for one more week. Really easily could keep him for one more week. Very, very easily. Yeah, I don't hate that. Thiago or Wirtz? I'd rather have Thiago for me personally. Yeah. We have just hit 100 likes on today's stream. So thank you very, very much, guys. Really is appreciated. Like I said, all your continued support. Thank you so much for, just everyone on the channel. You're great. You're heroes. You're legends. Right. We've had another team sent in for review. So let's go and take a look at that. And then we'll head back to the chat in a second. Or I thought we did. It said I had. Has it been deleted? It came up. I had the notification come through on my phone. I must have not have done. Yeah, one of those, I guess. I guess it didn't come through. Whoops. Now I've just got rid of that. There we go. Yeah, it came through on my phone that we had a team review sent in, but nothing was there. All right. Bench Kroopy or Wilson? I'd personally probably bench Kroopy for that one. Wilson or Dango for a -4? I don't necessarily think it's worth a -4. I don't think Wilson is that bad a player. You need to be taken out for a -4. So, yeah, personally wouldn't do that. Personally wouldn't do that. Tempted to go Thiago captain. Interestingly, Brighton have conceded the most goal involvements to strikers. That is their weakness. Thiago, we know, is a very, very good player. Brentford are pretty good at home as well. So yeah, I could see that. I could see that being a decent player to maybe look at this week. Rice to Verts this week or hold and do Enzo to Verts? I think you could hold it for me personally. I think Rice could actually do quite well this week. Yeah, I personally think he could do quite well. Bench Anderson, Xhaka, or Kroopy? I'm personally probably looking at benching Kroopy or Xhaka for me there. Just because Xhaka's coming back off an injury, we don't know what his minutes are necessarily going to be like. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Tom, who should I captain this week? I personally would be looking at any of the Chelsea players that I've got. So whether that be obviously Palmer, João Pedro, they're absolutely cracking options for this week to look at. If you've got a Palmer or a João Pedro, 100% give them the armband this week. It's a great week to go against it. If not, you are probably looking at a Haaland, a Bruno Fernandes, a Semenyo, a Rodgers. They're probably going to be the picks you are looking at realistically this week. That's fine. I mean, Odegaard can be back, so Rice can play a defensive position. He can hit those defensive contributions for me. I'll happily take a 4 or a 5 pointer out of him. It's basically like an assist, isn't it? Could get something from an attacking return as well. Looking at the poll this week for captaincy is extremely tight. 38% are going for Palmer, but obviously Palmer isn't that highly owned. João Pedro at 18% as well. I feel his effective ownership could be close to 100 this week, which is very frightening to see as a non-owner. Haaland at 37%, and then finally Bruno F at 7% as well. So quite a good split this week as well. If you are going for a differential captaincy option as well, do let me know. Do let me know where you're thinking about. Villa have a Feb dip every single year, even when we win the league, always Feb losses. Not now. Not now, Andy. We're back in the Rodgers cap, baby. We will do a coin flip on that one. Start Wilson or Kroopy. I personally would go with Wilson. And Buemo or Rodgers. I would personally go with Rodgers, I think, this week. Yeah, but I mean, I'd want to play both of them. Dubravka or Verbergen? Maybe Verbergen, but I mean, it's tight. It really is. Like, Dubravka could make plenty of saves and come away with an okay-ish score, but yeah. João Pedro captain for me, yeah. I think if you've got João Pedro or Palmer this week, they're probably the players I would be looking at in terms of captaincy as well for this game week. I think anybody else, yeah, not really for me. Start Hill or Richards? I personally would still go with Richards this week. West Ham have conceded a lot of goal involvements to centre-backs. However, Bournemouth have also conceded the second most goals away from home. So it kind of contradicts itself, really, doesn't it? Bench Alderente or O'Reilly. I personally would go with O'Reilly. Enzo to Palmer. I mean, it's probably only going to be a more like a 1 weeky move. I don't think it's going to be something that you want to hold longer term. But yeah, that'd be my only concern with that one. From Gabriel, Hill, Munoz, Gahey, Alderente, which 3 are the best to play? For me, Gabriel, Munoz, and then I think you've got a toss-up between Alderente and Gahey, really. That's probably the ones. Start Rice or Ekatike? Ask the coin. All right, let's go for it. Tails is going to be Rice. Heads is going to be Ekatike, okay? Heads, Ekatike. Ooh. Spicy, baby, spicy. Captain Salah, Bruno F, or Thiago. If I had Salah this week, he would also be a captaincy option I would look at. Forest 7th for goal involvements from right wingers. Interestingly, their and right back is their most conceded area. So from the right hand side, they are quite a poor unit. And that is where a lot of people do get a lot of joy out of Nottingham Forest, unfortunately. So yeah, that is where I would be looking at in terms of in picks this week. Yeah, there you go. Any questions you do have, obviously ahead of the deadline, guys, do let us know. We'll try and answer as many as we possibly can throughout today's stream. As always, try and help as many of you out. Ask as many questions as you need to. That's what we're here for. All right? That's what we're here for. We are approaching 300 viewers in today's stream as well, which is absolutely ridiculous. Rice to Dango. I personally think you could leave it for one more week. Yeah. Any love for the Bournemouth attack or bench them? I think the Bournemouth attack could be decent this week. Yeah, I can't remember where West Ham was their other. Like, I know centre-backs, they were poor, but there was another area that they really struggled on. Let me have a quick scoosy at this. Let's have a look. Where is it? Where's West Ham? West Ham. Why can I not see West Ham on this list? Palace, Tottenham, Burnley, Chelsea, Brentford, Leeds, Bournemouth. Here we go. So it is first for goals conceded to centre-backs, CDMs, left wingers. So Hill, Senesi, Scott, Adley could all do quite well this week out of that game. Yeah. I'm Captain Igor. I don't mind that. Brighton, sorry, their worst area for goals conceded is from forwards. So I don't hate the Thiago. I really don't hate the Thiago captaincy this week. Yeah, I don't hate it. Is DCL a keeper or sell? I don't think there's personally any other top forwards. Like, unless you're going for like Thiago, I probably would just keep him through. He plays good minutes. He's on penalties. The fixtures are hit and miss, but they get better as the weeks do progress. So it's kind of one of those where you can just bench him for the next few weeks, get around it. You know, he's still playing very good minutes and on penalties. So yeah, not too bad. 4 free transfers: Gui, Rice, Timber, Chalobah for Hill, Alderente, Thiago, and Rodgers. I personally think you could wait on some of those moves. I don't think, Rice is immediate sell. I don't think Chalobah as well, given the fixture this week, is also an immediate sell. A lot of those moves could wait to next week. They really, really could. That's how I would see it anyway. Yeah, I think a lot of those weeks could maybe wait till next week. So yeah, there you go. Any questions you do have, of course, get them in as well. Shall I go for Gordon next week because he's playing out of position now? Could be an option we do look at. In the Champions League, he was unbelievable, genuinely unbelievable. And speaking from someone who had him captain in Champions League fantasy, I was buzzing for it. I was genuinely buzzing for it. Let's have a look here. Someone's asked for the Discord link. There you go. It is also the pinned comment as well. If you wanna sign up, it is the pinned comment. But I've just whacked it in there as well. I probably would rather play Enzo this week ahead of Rice. That's personally what I would do. Trossard or O'Reilly for the bench. Ooh, Trossard maybe. Yeah. Timber to Hill, I've had enough. Fair enough. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Cash or Gahey in defence this week. I think the fact that Leeds have conceded the most goal involvements in the league to right backs, I definitely would be playing Matty Cash this week for me. Hi, who is best up till game week 32? Hill, Mook, or Anderson? I probably would say all of them are absolutely fantastic picks. All have great fixtures, all have pretty nice runs over the next few weeks. I think Fulham have probably the best clean sheet percentages, so that makes Anderson a really interesting option. Hill, for his price point, is absolutely fantastic, and Mook, for what he's been doing this season, is unbelievable. So, yeah, like I said, all of them are very, very good pickups over the next few weeks. Gordon Cap was so huge in UCL, 131 game week points. Very, very nice indeed, mate. Yeah, it was the highest a player has ever scored points-wise in UCL Fantasy, so absolutely ridiculous. And to have captained the player that did it, even more ridiculous. So fair play for people that went with Anthony Gordon this week. Absolutely smashed it. Hey buddy, great stream. Play 4 and Mbeumo, Gahey, Rice, Gabriel, O'Reilly. I think for me, the first 4 pick themselves there. And Mbeumo, Gahey, Rice, Gabriel. They're the ones I would play. I'd rather play Maguire ahead of Hill this week. Everton have conceded the most goal involvements to centre-backs. I feel just Manchester United are probably a little bit better of a defence than Bournemouth away from home. I mean, West Ham have also conceded a lot of goal involvements to centre-backs as well. The most in the league. But at the same time, I do just think United look to target set piece situations. I probably favour them a little bit higher, to get a clean sheet than I do Bournemouth as well, given how poor Bournemouth are away from home as well. So it's kind of one of those, isn't it? By Sobbo, he's all right, but again, not a player I would be absolutely dying to go and buy. Yeah. Hill or Calafiori, who first on the bench? Calafiori, probably. Yeah, probably Calafiori. If you want your team rating, guys, I don't do them in the chat. I do them in the Discord. That is the only place to get your team reviewed by me. Tiramisu or apple crumble? It's apple crumble all the way, mate. Tiramisu is crap. It is apple crumble all the way. There you go. Play Mbeumo or Rice? I'd probably play Mbeumo this week. I'd start Mook ahead of Anderson and Anderson. Hi, mate. Who should I start out of Timber, Hill, Richards, Mook? Obviously, I've got Gabriel. I probably would then look at maybe Richards, then Mook, then Hill. That would probably be my order and preference. Would you do Timber and Rice for Virgil and Rodgers? Yeah, I probably would. I like both those moves you suggested. I don't think they're like immediate sells, but there definitely could be some upside in the moves you've suggested there. Some really decent moves to maybe look at as well. We don't do Twitter reviews anymore. It is all on the FPL Cartel Discord. I was pretty much just spending too much time just running through on Twitter and not, being active in the chat, not talking to you guys. And it was also just getting to a point where I couldn't really give you quality advice because we had so many where I was just going this. Like it was just getting to a point where it was ridiculous. Start Rice or Mbeumo? Ask the coin. We can, of course, ask the coin as always. Heads is going to be, we're going to start Mbeumo. Tails is we're going to go with Rice, all right? There you go. It is heads. Heads on that one. I hate how the coin doesn't focus anymore. There's the angle I've got to hit for as well. Andy's also got the right idea. Make sure you're hitting that like button and, of course, hitting subscribe as well. It is really, really appreciated. As always, as we're on that road to 30,000 subscribers as well. Do you think I should sell Rice for Rodgers or Vert? I personally would probably go with Rodgers. Yeah, less time on that platform in general is probably a good thing, isn't it? No, it was just kind of one of those where I felt that the streams were just becoming me just sat on Twitter going, yeah, no. Like I couldn't give like accurate feedback and talk people through it. And I feel like, I was just letting people down a little bit. So me and Tom, obviously, we have the cartel together. We're always pretty much live together. So we thought, let's just pool it. Let's put it in. So, people are going to the cartel, get people in there. Obviously, that is our joint venture that we've started as well. And we want people obviously to come and check it out because we think it is a good thing. And obviously if we can offer team reviews in there as well, then, it's a win-win, isn't it, really? And like I said, when I do get team reviews sent through, I can actually give people proper answers and proper feedback as well. So yeah, there we go. Gahey to Timber or start. I think you could get away with just starting Timber this week. That's fine. Start Timber or O'Reilly. Gabriel already in the lineup. I still probably would go with Timber. I'm not 100% sure O'Reilly starts. He is a player that very much is in and out, isn't he? How about Timber to Van Dijk? Only got one transfer, so Rice to Rodgers or Timber to Van Dijk. I personally would probably maybe look at the Timber to Van Dijk one. I think that's probably a little bit more upsidey. I think Rice is definitely going to start. Like I said, on the Jump the Wave predictions, it was at like 80%, I want to say. 80% for Timber to start this week. So, yeah. That for me would probably be it. He would be the one. Just in case he doesn't start. That would purely be the reason I would go for that one. Who will be this week's 1 week punt? I think anybody from Chelsea, realistically, isn't it? It's any Chelsea player. Maybe you look at a Crystal Palace player, but I think given the state that they're in, yeah, go for it. Is it worth getting rid of Pickford? Again, like the goalkeeper transfers, there isn't much upside to them. And I think everybody just selling Pickford, he's definitely just going to whack in a mega double-digit haul as he always does throughout the course of the season. That's just Jordan Pickford through and through, isn't it, to be honest? But yeah, I don't think there's like any necessary reason to use a transfer on a goalkeeper. Like, look, we've got other issues that we need to be dealing with, especially with my team. Like, we've got a lot of players that will be, of course, blanking in game week 31. We've got triple Arsenal that, ideally I don't really want to have over the next few weeks. So, yeah, I think there's probably bigger priorities and bigger issues as well. Hi, Tom. You reckon Chalobah or Richards? I would personally play Chalobah ahead of Richards. Yeah, Neto could also be a great shout. Like I said, that is Burnley's main position of weakness is on the right wing. So whoever that right winger is could be a very tasty cookie to go for this week. Could be a saucy option. I got a similar team: Ahmed, Semenyo, and Roofs instead of Rogers, Enzo, Pickford. Plan to roll till game week 31. Nice, do it. Lafita, Dango, and Van Heck to Hill, 2 free transfers. I personally don't see the upside in that one. Enzo Lafita could actually do quite well this week. Fulham's main area of weakness is goals from centre midfielders. He's a player that might still have penalties. Diarra might have took them off him, but yeah, it's kind of one of those, isn't it? If João Pedro returns again, you reckon keep or switch Thiago? I personally would switch. Yeah, I personally would switch because, like I said, Thiago then has great fixtures and is playing against some sides that have really poor data against strikers as well. So for me, it makes sense to switch out when, of course, the Chelsea fixtures get a little bit more tough. Yeah, Pedro could be a fantastic captaincy option for this game week. He could be an absolutely brilliant option. Like I said, Burnley, a lot of goals conceded from strikers this week, so could be a big boy that does struggle a little bit. Is there any bandwagons to join? Probably not. I don't think so. Rice and Anderson for Rogers and Semenyo and Wilson. I don't mind those moves you've suggested there. Yeah, I don't mind them. My midfielders are Rice and Buemo, Bruno F, Palmer, and Enzo. What do you think will be the plans for the next few fixtures? I think you'll probably look to move on Rice, probably Palmer potentially, and Enzo maybe. I think just for his price point, he's probably a player that you could keep though and just stash on the bench for his few difficult fixtures. But if you've got the money in the bank, maybe like a Palmer to a Salah, Dango down to a Rice, that could be a route. Palmer or Pedro cap. I think that's a good one for the coin. I agree. Let's have it. Heads is going to be Palmer. Tails is going to be João Pedro, okay? Are we ready? It landed on heads. There we go. Heads. There you go. Abby's in the chat. She says, good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing good, Abby, this morning. Rogers is my cap. He is my cap. There we go. And he's currently my captain for this game week. It might change. It might hop onto Haaland as we progress throughout the stream. We'll have a look. We'll have a feel. We'll see how things go. I think we've got to do a coin flip at some point for the big decision on Rodgers or Haaland. Like, it is going to be one that we will look at in terms of a captaincy this week. So yeah. I think the beauty of Rodgers is he has a game in game week 31. That probably gives him the edge at the moment, doesn't it, really? Yeah, there we go. I feel like both players could end up getting early substitutions, though. I think I'm just going to stick with Haaland. Again, not a bad shout, but Newcastle, I think, are like 10th for goals conceded from forward. So it's not an area that, they are the leakiest at, but we could maybe see something happen there. Who knows? Who knows, eh? Which 5 defenders? I think Hill, for the price point he is. I still think Gabriel, despite the blank, like he will just be a player that you will stash on the bench. Still a very, very good option. Virgil van Dijk, I think, will be very, very popular over the next few weeks. Could see a lot of people having him in their sides for the decent extent. I think Anderson, given some of the fixtures coming up, and I think Hill as well, just for his price point purely, he really does allow you to get a lot of quality within your side as well. So yeah, if you're enjoying the stream, guys, like I said, make sure you're hitting that like button. Let's get this bad boy up to 150 nice and quickly. Calvert-Lewin or one between Hill and Canate. I still think I probably would play Calvert-Lewin this week. Yeah, I probably would. Start one, Krupi, Garner, Alderente, or Anderson. Not Anderson. I would go with Alderente on that one. For this game week, is Semenyo better than Rodgers? I think both are very, very good options for this game week. I really, really do. I think both are absolutely cracking options. I think just given the positions that Leeds give away to cams and right wingers, if he ends up playing there, and it probably does make Rodgers look like a great pick for this game week. I'm thinking of bringing in Cash next game week for Timber. Cash could be a great shout. Like I said, it could be a good shout for this week because Leeds have conceded the most goal involvements to right backs. So yeah, there we go. Got the whole family obsessed with the game now. You absolutely love it. It really is addictive, isn't it? It does grip absolutely everyone, doesn't it? But hey, that's why we play the game. It is one of those, and get the whole family in. I guess you got to beat them though. Now, Abby, that's the problem. Once you get them in, and then they start beating you, not as fun. Let's put it that way. Not as fun when you're getting beat by the family every week. Maybe you should move it. It's just some food for thought, mate. Just some food for thought. Ultimately, that's all it is. Just food for thought. But yeah, maybe one to monitor. Maybe one to monitor. Oh, I like Rodgers in for Rice. I think that's not a bad option. Or like you said, one of the Bournemouth forwards in for Ekitike. But it depends really how Ekitike does. He's been so frustrating in recent weeks. He really has. In blank game week 31, are you going to bench Haaland and Gabriel because the money invested in them? Correct. Yeah, so Haaland and Gabriel are definitely going to be players that I will be benching. I think we can maybe get by with just that. We might, depends who we're carrying through as well. Like Richards might be a player that just ends up on the bench, or Timber or Rice or whatever. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think they said he's in a good place. Maybe just double check the quotes from Emery, but I think they pretty much said he's good to go this weekend. So yeah, he could be he could be a really explosive pick this week, given the way that they've been conceding goals and stuff like that. So yeah, he could be a nice one. I'm captain in Haaland, but also own Semenyo. Do you think Semenyo is overlooked as a captain? A little bit. I think he's been in banging form, hasn't he? And doing exceptionally well over the past few weeks. So yeah, he's not a bad option to look at. He really isn't a bad option to look at. Is Verts a better pick? It's a tough one, isn't it? I think obviously Verts, he's been a little bit hit and miss. He's been a little bit hit and miss as Verts. -4 and dive to Wilson/Gordon. Probably not for me. Donnarumma or Raya. I personally would probably go with Raya still on that one. Which 5 defenders are the best to own? I kind of ran through that one already. It also gives me the budget to ditch Iori and get Dango. I might pull the trigger. Hey mate, go for it. If it opens up a door, could be a saucy move. Hi, Tom. I'm chasing my rival 9 points. He's captain in Parma and doesn't have Haaland. Would you do Cunha for a -4 to bring in? I wouldn't do the -4. I personally would just captain Haaland instead. Yeah, just do that. Strand Larson to Strand or to Thiago. I would personally keep him for this week, but it's a good fixture this week up against his former club. Should do quite well. So I'd give him this week. Then, yeah, probably would maybe look to do it next week. There you go. Thoughts on Gakpo? Probably not an option for me. His minutes are just too varied. So, yeah, probably not a pick I would go for. Thoughts on Douglas Luiz? Could also be an okay option. Set piece share, penalty share. I don't know what his DEFCON numbers have been like, but yeah, he could be nice. Hi, Tom. On your model, who is predicted to score more, Rice or Rodgers? I can tell you for this week, it is. Let's bring it up. Where's the model? Here we go. Game week 27. So we got. Where's Rice? Where's Rodgers? So Rodgers is 10th on this list for this week. Rice, where is he? Rice is all the way down here in 20th. So there's 10 places between them and 0.9 points between them in terms of this week. So yeah, there you go. Morning, mate. Bench 2 out of Gabriel, Chalobah, O'Reilly, Richards, and Anderson. I think for me, it's quite easy. O'Reilly and Anderson would be the ones I would personally look at there. Yeah, those would be the two that I would personally look at. There you go. Rice or Mbeumo on the bench? Oh, I think I'd probably go Rice. Yeah, I probably would go Rice, but that again is a real toughie. That is a real toughie. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know, do let me know in the comments. We'll try and answer as many questions as, of course, we can throughout today's stream. Best Liverpool picks except Van Dijk. You probably are looking at an XTK, a Salah, a Verts. They're probably the ones. Rice for Semenyo for a -4. Personally, wouldn't do that for a -4. No. Yeah, not for me. Not feeling that one. If anybody wants their team rating, like I said, that is done now over in the FPL cartel. So if you put it in the comments, unfortunately, we're just doing kind of the quicker base questions there as well. Hi, Tom. Would you swap Rice for Verts or Rodgers? I personally would probably go Rodgers. I think he's got the next two fixtures, which are great. Then, of course, has a decent game in game week 31 and potential captaincy option that week as well. To West Ham. So yeah, there's where my head would be at with that one. Krupi or Mane to Thiago? I personally would probably go Mane. He's just got the blank. One less player to deal with, isn't it? When you get down to game week 31. Should I sell Rice to Dango in order to afford Krupi Jr. to Thiago and then sub Dango to play a 4-3-3? Could you do those moves next week? I mean, you could just do those moves next week, right? I don't necessarily think they need to be done this week as well. Yeah, I think Rice will probably hit a steady 4 or 5 pointer this week. I really do. I genuinely think he will hit just a 4 or 5 steady pointer. No worries, mate. No worries indeed. Do you think Igor Thiago is a very underrated captain this week? He actually could be. I genuinely think he is a player that maybe I have underestimated this game week, you know. Brighton are 4th for goals conceded to forwards. So yeah, maybe he could be. Maybe he could be. What's the home versus away record like? Here we go. Home versus away Premier League record. I want to see where Brighton are away from home. What are they doing? Are they bad? Are they good? Where are they? Away from home. Brighton are bad. Brighton are pretty bad away from home. Haven't won any of their last 5. Yeah, that could be one. That really could be one. Brighton are bad. Obviously, Brentford are good at home. That might be the differential captaincy pick this week. It could be Igor Thiago. I don't mind Mbeumo as a captaincy pick this week. I think that could be fine. I think there are probably more interesting picks this week to maybe look at, and positionally based picks that could do exceptionally well. But yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind the Thiago one. The more that I've looked into that, yeah, that could be decent. Hi Tom, love the content. Would you do Cunha to Semenyo and take the -4 for Evan Nielsen to Thiago? I don't think I would. No, I don't think I would. I do like the moves you have suggested, but I don't know if I would do it. Oh, Coyote for 4.5. I mean, he doesn't hit DEFCON. There's nothing amazing about him as a pick, but yeah. There's some decent clean sheet numbers coming up for Brentford. Haaland or João Pedro for captaincy. All right, let's do that one then. Heads is going to be Haaland. Tails is going to be João Pedro, okay? Heads, Haaland. Ooh. Ooh. Do keep your questions coming in. Any team reviews, like I said, get them sent over to the FPL cartel. That is where we'll do them. Oh, Verbergen conceding late on is glorious for the people that went for him. Obviously not for the people that have got him, but yeah, for me it's kind of funny, isn't it? A little bit. I have 2 free transfers: Tarkowski to Konate, or do I do Timber to Van Dijk? I personally would probably go Timber to Van Dijk, but there isn't too much I would say between him and Konate realistically. Like, I don't think they're a million miles apart, so I don't hate doing either of them. Yeah, I don't hate doing either of them. Just headed into Tom's stream. He's got currently Haaland captain. Nice. Haaland captain. That's who he's gone for this week. And then there's me. Is Strand Larson a good pick? I think with Mateta back in a few weeks, probably not. And a blank in game week 31, yeah, probably not. Yeah. Rory Delap, there will be never anybody that can match Rory Delap. Everybody else's just goes like loops up. His were just like flat, so really hard to deal with. Bonjour. Start Anderson or Delors. I would personally maybe go with Anderson on that one. Yeah. DCL to Thiago this week. Yeah, I like that as a move. I rate that as a move. I think Thiago could actually do quite well this week. Given obviously the goals conceded. Oh, he's kind of put himself in terms of maybe being a decent captaincy pick this week. He could genuinely be a decent captaincy pick for this game week, couldn't he? Oh my days. How have we ended up here? How have we ended up here? So yeah, in my head, I've got Thiago, Bruno, Haaland, and Rodgers as kind of the 4 that I'm thinking about for captaincy this week. That's where my head is at for captaincy this week. It's all over the shop, isn't it? They should, shouldn't they? They should be like, come on, mate, get your dad involved. We are ridiculously close to hitting 150 likes on today's stream, by the way, guys. So if you are enjoying it, make sure you're hitting like, make sure you're hitting subscribe, and yeah, let me know. Yeah, I can talk you through what the model is basically based off. So it is pretty much just a very simple points per game model that then has fixture multipliers based off the FDR rating, right? So if they've got a green at home fixture, I can't remember the exact multipliers, but it multiplies the players' predicted points over the past 2 seasons to be higher, right? If it's a red away fixture, it then decreases their points per game. That's genuinely all it is. It is very, very simple, very basic. It looks at points per game. That is about it. There you go. All right. Very simple. Yeah, all the models work similar-ish to this, kind of. Obviously, other ones have their own nuances where they look at expected data and expected points and stuff like that also filters in. But this one, very simply, is just points per game with a fixture multiplier. And then it has, what else has it got? Penalties and like a minutes multiplier as well. So like obviously if a player I think is not going to play a certain amount of minutes, we can drop them down and it drops their predicted points down. Or if they're a penalty, I think it adds like 0.5 points to their points total every single week. So that's it for the model. Is like I said, it's very basic, it's very simple. It isn't something that, is like some really hard to understand algorithmic thing. It is very simple, points per game with fixture multiplier and other factors in there. Heineken Viz, thank you very much for joining the FPL Tom fan pack. Really is appreciated. Of course, when these streams do get a little bit busier, we will prioritize members within the chat as well. So if you do want to sign up for that, I've made it as ridiculously cheap as I possibly could. It is 99p if you want to sign up for it as well. Yeah, ultimately that's the place to do it. Namaste. I expected an Indian accent while answering like you did for the French accent. No. Would you bench Timber or Mbuemo? I probably would bench Timber. Yeah. OGs remember the Soggy Biscuit Club. Oh, mate. I wanted to call it that, and it was called that for a bit, but then YouTube banned it. But yeah, it did used to be called the Soggy Biscuit Club. Anderson to Dango or Roll. I personally would Roll. Yeah, I ain't doing an Indian accent. I ain't getting cancelled. We're not doing that. Do I triple captain Palmer? I think we've still got potential double game weeks further down the line. I probably would save it for then. That would probably be my advice on that one. If I can't afford Chalobah, is Reece James good or better? I personally wouldn't be looking to buy a Chelsea defender this week. I think if you've got them, play them. Longer term, though, I personally wouldn't be looking to buy any of them. And James, very unreliable with his minutes, so personally wouldn't go for it. I probably would bench O'Reilly out of that lot. Yeah, he probably would be the one that would make way there. I've just seen that we've hit 150 likes on today's stream as well. I'm really enjoying today's stream. I don't know why, but I'm enjoying it. It's good. Maybe because we've had a little bit of time off, but I'm really enjoying it. Not that I don't enjoy all the streams, but today does feel quite good. I'm enjoying it. I'm in the mood. Feeling good. Joachim Anderson or Mook. I personally would play Mook this week. Tarkowski to Virgil or roll my transfer. I think that's a good move. Bench Mook or bench Rice. Rather bench Rice actually this week. Yeah. I'm well familiar with it, Jamie. I'm seeing the ploys that he's going for as well. I'm seeing the ploys that he's doing out today. He's getting them out there, isn't he? He's creative. You've got to go hats off to the creative ones. Hats off to the creative ones. You've got to give him it. You've got to give him it. Oh my days. Sell Bowen to Thiago or hold? I think you could hold for one more week. Yeah, I think you could hold for one more week, but I don't mind it if you do want to sell to Thiago. Is Munoz fine to keep until game week 30? What are the best replacements for Chalobah and Munoz? I think you probably give both of them this week, and then you probably are looking at, the Virgils, the Andersons, the Hills. They're probably where it would be as well. Oh, I'm glad everyone's enjoying it. Why are people benching Rice? Yeah, good question. I think he's a pretty steady Eddie for this week, to be honest. Yeah, I think he's a pretty okay pickup. Who is the best defender for 5.7 million and under? I think Hill is amazing for the value that he is. Any of the Sunderland defenders as well, also pretty decent pickups. Matty Cash for a 1 weeker, maybe. Just transferred Rice to Rodgers, Tom. Should I captain Palmer or Rodgers? I think if you've got a Chelsea player, you give them the armband this week. If you've got Palmer, if you've got João Pedro, they, for me, take the armband for this week. Should I captain Watkins or Rodgers? I think with Watkins going off early the past few weeks with Tammy Abraham being around, personally for me, would avoid it. Yeah, I'm a little bit bemused by why people are obviously shifting off of Rice. I think, he's not the most attractive asset in the world because all he does is def gun and occasionally gets some attacking returns along the way, but he's still just a fine asset to really hold over the next few weeks, isn't he? But yeah, I'm a little bit unsure about it. I think, obviously we've got some quite desirable midfielders that people are looking at, and that is probably why people are shifting away from Rice. But he has just come off the back of, two pretty steady scores, to be honest, and is a guy that will just tick along very, very nicely. I'm not too bothered about Rice's attacking threat, though. I really do believe that just DEFCON alone and set piece share is probably good enough for Declan Rice. He'll still just tick along very, very nicely. Oh, right. Thiago, Rodgers, Bruno, Haaland. I think I'm going to rule out Bruno. I think I'm going to rule out Bruno Fernandes. We're going to rule out Bruno. So we're down to Rodgers, Haaland, and Thiago. They're the final 3 picks for captaincy for me. Yeah, I still think he's a good pick. I mean, Andy's been his PR piece for ages, hasn't he? I think he's just a steady. Like I genuinely think there is a case this season where the steady eddies are just fine to keep. Like you know what I mean? Like Rice has just been a guy that has just ticked along very, very nicely all season. And I think maybe just having that little bit of patience sometimes is really a virtue, isn't it? Verts, Rodgers, Ekatike, Thiago, captain. I think for me, it comes down to 2 there, Thiago and Rodgers, given the positional data we've got. Obviously, Leeds 3rd for goal involvements from Cams. And then we've got Thiago with 4. And I think just given his probably, penalties, I am leaning more towards like a Thiago cap, As rogue as that might sound, Thiago cap is looking a bit tasty. It is looking a bit tasty. Let me get XG stat up. Let's have a look. XG stat. What's my overall rank? We had a disastrous game week last week, by the way. We are currently 215 or 17,000. Like it was like 100k red. It was abysmal. Like I said, I don't think I've ever had a game week go that bad, especially when playing a chip as well. It was, horrific. Horrific, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely horrific. Is Palmer the best captain? I think Palmer and João Pedro for me are the leading candidates. If I had them, would be the ones. Yeah. So their main positional vulnerability is Thiago. Fourth for goal involvements conceded. What about XG? Where are they lining up in terms of that? 2nd. Oh. Yeah. I'm liking the look of it. I'm liking the look of Thiago cap, I know he's been disappointing in the past few weeks. 2-2-2s, but he can hit the big double-digit hauls. He can hit them. A lot of them coming at home as well. He has penalties, which is the big advantage over Rodgers as well. What did he do against Brighton earlier in the season? 4 points. He got a goal, though. Goal scored. What did he do? Did he get a yellow? Did he miss a penalty? He missed a penalty, didn't he, against Brighton earlier in the season? I remember that. He scored and then missed a penalty, so he could have had a mega haul. Oh, I am tempted, Yeah, I think he's more tempting than Rodgers. I genuinely think he's more tempting than Rodgers right now. Just purely because of penalties. Because Brighton are really bad at that metric as well. I do like the look of it. I do like the cheeky look of that. Let's have a look at Leeds for a second. I just want to see where expected goal involvement's coming from for them. So Cam's 3rd in the league. But then the XG is all the way down at 10th. Yeah, I'm genuinely really liking this. Brighton just give away so many opportunities to forwards. I genuinely think Thiago cap could be the player this week we go with. Yeah. Yeah, we're there, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the point where my mind is going mental. Let's compare. Let's finally have a look at Newcastle's ones. So they're 10th for goal involvements from forwards, right? They're just above, slightly above the average. What about their XG? Even lower, 13th. Like, I do think there is a week here where we take it on. We take it on. I think we take it on. I had Thiago and Verbergen, so the penalty miss was actually a win-win. Yeah, I imagine Verbergen was slightly lower as well. Yeah, I remember that game now. It was like proper right at the death of the game as well. But there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. What transfers have I made this week? I've made 0 transfers this game week. The only one that I am thinking about is maybe Timber for Virgil, but at the same time, I think that could maybe wait a week. So yeah. If I have the Chelsea players, I think Palmer and João Pedro, they're the top 2 if I had them, for me, realistically. Outside of that, you are probably looking at Haaland, Bruno Fernandes, Rodgers, Semenyo, and now Thiago. Yeah. Wowza Rooney. Wowza Rooney, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe we're here with the Thiago captaincy punt. Yeah. Could be one of those. It could be a masterstroke. It could end in tears very easily. And Haaland absolutely diddles us. Nice work on the TC for Rice. I'll rate that. I do rate that. I did Timber to Virgil and Kruby to Thiago. Great moves. I have no Thiago next week. Praying JP does his stuff. Yeah, I think if you've got João Pedro, you stick with him. Then of course you maybe look at Thiago next week. I think for me that is a perfectly acceptable move to do. Rice to Rodgers, yeah, don't mind that. I don't mind that if that is a move you are thinking about this game week. Of course, make sure you're getting your questions in ahead of the deadline. Anything you want to know, do let me know, and we'll try and answer as many questions as we can. We've been live for nearly 2 hours already. So yeah, happy to answer any questions that you've got. Hill or Mateus Nunes? I personally would go probably Nunes. Yeah, I think he would be the one. Let's head over to the Jump the Wave and look at some of the predictions that they've got on there. Let's bring that up. Jump the Wave. Here we go. By the way, if you don't follow this account, I would highly recommend doing so. It is a fantastic account for team prediction lineups. They pretty much just take all the top predictions and then put them together in this really nice sheet. So let's run through these then. So this is Arsenal, as you can see here. This is what I was speaking about with the Timber. He's in pretty much a lot of them, but there are 2 that he doesn't feature in. That's why he's down at 80%. Gabriel in 100, Saliba in 100, Zubamendi in 100, Rice in 100, Saka in 90. I think we had someone ask me earlier about him. Trossard at 80%, so pretty decent, and Gyökeres at 90% there. But yeah, that may be enough for you to potentially go, yeah, personally, I don't want to go with Timber, so I get it if you don't want to go down that route. Next up is Villa. Matty Cash is actually in 100%. Someone was asking me about Matty Cash earlier and potentially an option. Obviously, Leeds have conceded the most goal involvements to right backs in the league, so Matty Cash could be a great pickup this week. Centre backs, they don't really know who's going to pair with Konza this week. Douglas Luiz, someone asked me about. He will be the penalty taker, I imagine. So, yeah. Sancho as well. Obviously, they've conceded the most goal involvements from right wingers. Rodgers in 100%. Watkins at 77. Some people have been asking me about Watkins. I think with obviously that being the prediction number there, for me personally, I probably would stay clear of that one. Brighton, Verbergen 100% if you've got him. Van Heck and Dunk 100% as well. Who else have we got in here? Mitoma at 100% and Welbeck 100%, interestingly. But I think that's about it for Brighton. Chelsea, Sanchez 100%, James 100% this week. So if you've got him, definitely play him. Chalobah 100% as well. They don't really know who the other centre back's going to be. There's a little bit of doubt around that one. Caicedo 100%, Enzo 100%, Neto 75 could be a really big. Whoever ends up on that right hand side could have a great game this week. Palmer 100% and João Pedro also at 100% to start as well. So yeah, some nice ones in there. Moving over to Liverpool. Virgil and Konate pretty much at 100, close to 100% as well. Szoboszlai, people are looking at bringing him in. I had a few questions, 100% here. Salah 100%. Wirtz 100% as well. Ekitike at 100%. City, we've obviously got Mateus Nunes, who people have been asking me about. He's in 100% of the predictions. Ruben and Gahey could actually score today, given the fact that Newcastle have conceded the most goal involvements to centre-backs in the league, so they could be pretty decent options. O'Reilly's interestingly at 100% as well. A few people have been asking me about that one, so maybe O'Reilly still could be a decent player to go with. Semenyo 100%, Haaland at 100% as well. United, Bruno at 100 and Puemo at 100. Are we really shocked there? Where's Cunha? I think we had a few people asking me about Cunha. 75%, few don't have him, but a few, of course, do have him. Maguire and Martinez, you centre back here in Delo, and Shaw, your left back there as well. Newcastle, Chow, Burn, 100% for those guys. Hall at 100% if you've got him. Gordon at 100%, probably going to be playing as the striker, you imagine, this new system that they're working out at as well. So yeah, there we go. Tottenham, I don't think anybody's got any Tottenham players, but they're there if you need them as well as the final one. So yeah, like I said, I would highly recommend checking out Jump the Wave. They put together all the predicted lineups. It's a really good and useful tool rather than just obviously using one source, using multiple here, and I do think it is pretty decent. So yeah, I rate it. I do rate it. So yeah, highly recommend it. I'll give it a retweet so you guys can go and find it, but I would highly recommend going and following Emma, Jump the Wave. Great account there for stuff like that. Cool. Hey, bro, do you think I should do Salah in for Rice and Thiago in for Haaland? I personally wouldn't. Not for me. But play your own game if that's the way you're feeling. Then of course, yeah, take a look at it. Take a look at it. What's the sense in sharing this one and only life? Do 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 do. When will I end my stream? I will end the stream at about 11:30, just before all the big boys go live. Maybe a little bit earlier, depending on what my arse thinks as well. O'Reilly to Anderson to allow Calvert-Lewin to Thiago. Is it worth doing if for now hit or 2 free transfers? O'Reilly to Anderson to allow Calvert-Lewin to Thiago. Is it worth doing now for a hit? I don't know if it's necessarily worth doing for a hit, but it's one to think about, isn't it? Who to play out of these 3? Timber, Richards, Cash can only play 1. Oh, I think I'd probably go Cash, you know. I think given the fact that Leeds have conceded the most goal involvements to right backs, I would be tempted to go with Cash, yeah. Timber, Rice to Virgil and Rodgers for a -4. I don't know if I'd do it for a -4, but I like the moves, but probably not for a -4. Maybe you could just wait one more week. And if you want to do just one of the moves, then maybe just do Timber to Virgil, given the fact that he was at 80% on the Jump the Wave predictions. play Evan Nielsen or Rice? Probably Rice. I'd still go Rice on that one, yeah. I think he's just a steady Eddie, isn't he? I'd rather have Raya in goal for that one. Yeah, I'd rather have Raya in goal for that one. If you're enjoying the stream, guys, let's see if we can get this bad boy up to 200 likes. Of course, your support is always massively appreciated, as always, on the channel. Should I take a -4 for Thiago? I don't think he's at -4 territory. But yeah, that's where we're at. What have I got against Haaland? Look, Haaland is a great player. And top of my own model. I'm going against my own model here. But Newcastle are 14th from expected goals involvements from strikers and 10th for goal involvement strikers, right? So it doesn't look great for Haaland, right? Then we look at Thiago. Brighton struggle against forwards. They're 4th for goals conceded from forwards. They're 2nd for expected goals conceded from forwards. Thiago should have already had a mega haul against this lot earlier in the season. He had a penalty, he missed it, but got himself a goal as well. Brighton are really poor away from home, haven't won in their past 5. Brentford have also, a great home record. They've only lost 2 at home this season. They've scored plenty of goals. Most of Thiago's double-digit hauls have also come at home as well this season. I'm feeling it. I'm trusting my gut. I'm trusting my intuition. I've seen the numbers here. He can score a hat-trick against anyone, but his record is not great against Newcastle. I think someone put it in the chat earlier. I'll get it up, but I don't think it's great. Haaland versus Newcastle. Maybe I could be wrong on this one. Maybe this is the downfall. But who knows? That 1 goal in 4 games? Yeah, 1 goal, I think, in 4 games against Newcastle. So, not a great. I don't think it's influenced by a poor last week. I think I'm looking at the data that I've got in front of me, and I'm kind of just trusting it a little bit. Yeah, I'm trusting it a little bit. I'm going with it. Yeah, I'm going with it. What's he got here? So 6 games, 1 goal, 2 assists. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Newcastle played in the week. They had a great week, but I don't know. I'm still feeling it. Yeah, I'd captain Palmer if I had him, Ben. If I've got João Pedro or Palmer, they 100% get the armband ahead of me. Ahead of Haaland, Bruno, Thiago, all of those picks, yeah. I'm pretty sure on it. We'll have 1 coin flip to decide, obviously, the holy coin. That knows the best, but we're feeling it. Thank you for the super chat. Sean, he says bench 1, Saw, Rice, Sharda, Strand Larson. Oh, right. Wolves have conceded, I think, the most or the second most goal involvements to right wingers. It's definitely second most behind Aston Villa. So Saw definitely starts. I like Rice. I like Sharda. Oh, that's a toughie. I genuinely think Sharda maybe ends up on the bench here. Sharda or Strand Larson is where my head is at. And I think just because it's up against his old club, I probably do go the double Palace attack and probably bench either one of Rice or Sharda. And I think probably maybe Sharda ends up on the bench for me. Do a spin the wheel. Nah, the coin knows. The coin knows. No spinny wheels. That's your wheelhouse. See what I did there? Mine is all about the holy coin, isn't it? Delo or Konza? I think I probably would go Konza, this week. Is Enzo a keeper this week? 100%, yeah. Coin flip for Haaland versus Thiago. Is it time, ladies and gentlemen? I think it is. Heads is going to be Thiago. Tails is going to be Haaland, okay? Are we ready? Oh, no. Oh, no. Now we're going to have a breakdown because the coin said go for Haaland. The coin was right last week. It said Rice. It did say Rice last week. Maybe this is the thing. Maybe if we go with Haaland, we cover ourselves off with effective ownership. We cover ourselves off with that, and Thiago will be a good enough player anyway. Oh, for God's sake. Bench Enzo or Rice this week. I think you bench Rice there. You play Enzo, don't you? You play Enzo. The coin has not gone with the Thiago. It's gone. I don't like that. The coin is not a big fan of Thiago, is it? Haaland on the coin. Haaland on the coin. Should have done a spin the wheel. Nah, no spinny wheels for me. No spinny wheels for me. Ah, the coin. What have you done to me? Captain Haaland now. I mean, we still might end up with Haaland back on the captain. Like I said, it's one of those, isn't it? It's one of those where the record is bad. The record is bad. It is bad. Thiago going for Bowen. I don't mind that. I think Bowen could still have a pretty good game this week. Bournemouth are pretty leaky away from home. Haaland and Rice to Palmer and Thiago this week, and Bowen to Enzo. Not for me personally. Is it worth doing Ekatike down to Thiago? I already have Verts and VVD. Then maybe I could upgrade Rice to Semenyo. I don't hate that. I think I'll probably bench Cunha. Yeah, probably would. Should I start Hill and Anderson? My bench is Anderson, Chow, and Devaney. Should I start Hill? Yeah, probably would. I'm going against the coin today. Join the cartel. Get yourself in the cartel, guys. Make sure you are joining there. Is Thiago to João Pedro and Enzo to Dango a good move? No. Because you only want João Pedro for this week, then you will probably be swapping him out for Thiago next week. Yeah, there you go. Hi, Tom. Is it worth it to captain Haaland? Yep. Look, he's still going to be, as Tom rightfully said in the stream, he can score against anyone. Newcastle have just come back from Karabag. It is a long trip. They've got a poor away record in the Premier League as well. Where are they at for the away record? It's not great. Away table, Newcastle are 13th. They've conceded 17 on the road. In recent weeks, they've been a little bit better, winning 2 of the last 5, but still, they're not a great unit away from home. They are not a great unit away from home. Who's the best defender to bring in this week? Anderson, Fulham. Yeah, he's pretty good. Like, they've got some decent fixtures coming up over the next few weeks. Hill from Bournemouth as well is also a very good budget enabling pick as well. What do I think about Nkape? Personally, wouldn't be looking to buy any Arsenal assets. Like, we've had their double game week. They're going to blank in game week 31. So yeah, I personally wouldn't probably look to go towards any of them. If I was going to sell any of my Arsenal defenders there, it would be Timber. Timber would be the one that we let go this week. He would be the one that bites the bullet. How many goal involvements have Everton conceded, Cams? Not many. Genuinely not many. Let's have a look. XG stat back up. By the way, the website I'm using for all this is XG stat. If you want to go and check it out for yourself, highly do so. I probably should get a deal going with them or something. The amount I'm using them in these streams. How about a best of 3? Now, we only ever do 1 coin flip. Nunes is fine for City this week and 100% of the predicted lineups. So yeah, Everton they are 16th for goal involvements from cams. In terms of their XG, even worse, 18th for goal involvements from cams this week. So yeah, not great. Not great at all. If I'm going to sell Timber, I'm going to bring in Virgil van Dijk. Yeah, that's who I would bring in. Who will buy for Timber, Saliba for similar budget? I have Virgil van Dijk. I don't necessarily think you need to go for anybody's similar value, but you could very easily just drop it down. Like, there's some fantastic cheaper pickups as well. Hill, Anderson could be great buys over the next few weeks, given some of the fixtures they've got and have fixtures in game week 31 as well. So, you don't have to stick with these expensive options. Like, you could just very easily drop it down. So, should I buy Nunes or Anderson? Choose for one. I think, obviously, with the blank for Nunes, you probably look at Anderson, right? There wasn't a Brentford one, but Collins, I personally would. Yeah, I mean, he's been getting benched and playing in like the cup games and stuff like that. So I'm not sure what's really gone off there, but yeah, probably for me looks probably not to be the pick. Captain João Pedro or Salah? I personally would go for João Pedro this week, given the fact that Burnley are third for goal involvements from strikers. So yeah. Hello, mate. Best route to Thiago: sell Timber, O'Reilly, or Rice and Krupi, or wait a week. I personally look, if you've got like the ability to wait a week and you're not taking a minus, I think you could wait a week. Yeah, I think you could do it. Bench Rayan or Rogers or Mbuemo. Oh my days! Surely there's got to be somebody else that you can bench there. I think for me, I'd probably bench Rayan, but that is a toughie. Who to buy between Semenyo, Wirtz, and Mbuemo for Rice? I think the only downside of Semenyo, there's some great fixtures coming up, some decent predicted points, but it is that blanking game week 31. But if you can navigate that, that is completely fine. Other than that, Wirtz and Mbuemo, I probably would rather have Mbuemo than Wirtz. Yeah. Start one from Anderson, DCL, Hill. Probably, I don't like benching penalty takers, so I'll probably go DCL. Start Timber or Richards. Still probably go Timber ahead of Richards on that one. Enzo is the kind of playing left wing cam position. He could be good against Burnley. Yeah, we'll have a look at that. Let's have a look where they've been conceding. I know a lot of it is in the right. Obviously, Palmer's probably going to play in the 10. If he's on the right, then Palmer is the best captaincy option this week, by the way. Absolutely unreal. I would rather play Rice or Ekitike ahead of Robbie. Yeah, I would. Let's have a look then. So, yeah, Burnley are just goals conceded from everywhere. Third for strikers, second for right wingers. Yeah, they do just concede all over the shop. Interestingly, not from cams though. So yeah, left wingers, right wingers, and strikers and CDMs is where they kind of concede a lot of them, most of their goal involvements from. I personally would probably put Wirtz, Sobo, Gravenberch in that order in terms of players I would want to buy. Bench Zubamendi or Sobo. I probably would bench Zubamendi. Start KDH, Anderson, or Senesi. Ooh. I'd be probably tempted to maybe play Senesi there. I know Bournemouth haven't got the greatest record away from home, but West Ham have conceded the most goal involvements as centre-backs. We've seen Senesi in the past get plenty of goals from those situations as well. So yeah, I think that could be the route we go for. What's the sense in sharing this one and only life? do 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 do. Just can't break away. Young hearts run free. What a tune that is, by the way. Do keep your questions coming in. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, do let me know. We'll try and help as many of you out as possible. Oh, my belly's having a bit of a rumble central today. Bit hungry. Little bit hungry today. I don't know why, but I am, I guess. Start one from Anderson, DCL, Hill. I'll probably go DCL. Start Lafitte or Casemiro. I'd probably go Lafitte. Fulham have actually conceded a lot of goal involvements to centre mids, so could benefit Laffy this week. Still might have penalties as well. So yeah, he could. He's the cookie. He's the cookie. Right, we've whittled it down to Thiago or Haaland for captaincy. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. What do I think about Dango from game week 28 bench boosting against Burnley? I mean, if your team's set up for it, then yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that as an idea. Personally, I'm going to save mine for the big double in 33, but yeah. Any idea if there would be any blank game week after 31? Yeah, 34. 34 is going to be the bigger blank as well for the FA Cup. Why not Captain Haaland? Yeah, I mean that is the final two decision makers is Haaland or Thiago for this game week. Haaland or Thiago in terms of captaincy for this week. I think Haaland's probably going to have the effective ownership, isn't he? But only 1 goal against Newcastle, 2 assists in 6 Premier League games isn't great reading. But Newcastle are poor travellers. They've just come back from a long trip away at Karabag as well. So maybe there might be a bit of that comes into factor. City obviously have been scoring plenty of goals in recent weeks as well. But Thiago, right, most of his double-digit hauls have come at home. We're also looking at a side that conceded the 4th most goal involvements to strikers, 2nd most expected goals to strikers as well. Brighton have a very poor away record also. So there is a lot that is going for Thiago, and he is a penalty taker. Look, he is a penalty taker. That's all it ever takes is some jammy penalty decisions. I understand the factor that Newcastle might be tired as well. Look, it was a long trip that they had out there. And yeah, it might, but Haaland hasn't got a great record. Newcastle don't usually concede a lot of goals to strikers either. It's one of those, isn't it? We did a coin flip. The coin flip landed on Haaland. Look, Thiago could just be a nice player anyway to have rather than just giving him the armband. That is how my head is currently thinking. And looking at the poll in terms of our captaincy for this week, what we got? Best captaincies, 38% on Palmer, 15% on João Pedro, 39% on Erling Haaland as well. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, it's probably going to be one that we decide last minute is Haaland or Thiago, I think. Bench Timber or Chalobah, or just don't start Senesi? Just don't start Senesi. I think Timber and Chalobah are perfectly fine to play this week. Bench 1, Chalobah, Cherky, Rice, or Timber. Cherky, easy, done. Yeah. Bench Cash or Mook. Oh, that's a toughie. That's a toughie because Leeds have conceded the most goal involvements to right backs. So Cash looks like a great player to play this week. But Mook, like Sunderland at home, is a really good fixture. I think I would probably go Mook, but that is a tight one. Trust me, Thiago will blank this week. Oh, that's it then. That's it then. If I'm trusting you, that's it. It's going to happen. Do you recommend Bowen to Thiago? I think that's look, it's a great move. It is a great move, but Bowen is still very high up on my own model. His points per game are still ridiculously good, and Bournemouth are very leaky. It could be, again, another decent fixture to potentially look at in terms of Thiago this week. Who's on penalties for Villa? It will be Douglas Luiz, who will be their penalty taker. Bench Gahey or Richards? Ooh. I'm going to say Richards. Yeah. Sell Tarkowski? Yep. I think Tarkowski's quite an easy sell for the next few weeks. Yeah, a lot of people asking about the captain, Thiago. Brighton are 4th for goals conceded to forwards, 2nd for expected goals given up to forwards. Thiago, most of his double-digit hauls have come at home. Brighton are a pretty poor away side. Brentford are a great home side. Should have had a double-digit haul against them earlier in the season as well. Haaland, only 1 goal in his past 6 games in the Premier League against Newcastle. Now, I know this is a completely different Newcastle. They're tired. They've had a long trip out. But yeah, that is where my head is at right now. The coin went with Haaland, so we'll have to wait and see how we feel right at the end. Captain Rodgers, I also have floated the idea of maybe Captain Morgan Rodgers. Leeds have conceded the 3rd most goal involvements to Cams. Also, if he plays on the right, they're 1st for goals conceded on the right. They seem really, really vulnerable down that right-hand side, given the fact that they're also 1st for goals conceded from right backs as well. So Matty Cash could have a very, very good game today. Ekitike, Wirtz, or Szoboszlai? Who is the pick? And even Salah. Ekitike, Wirtz, or Szoboszlai? Who is the pick and even Salah? I think, look, if you can get to Salah, great. But if it requires a major rebuild, then probably not. Wirtz, I think, is probably the easiest go-to for most people, or Szoboszlai. Other than that, Ekitike has been super frustrating. Yeah, look, I think if you've got Palmer or João Pedro, they're probably the leading captaincy options ahead of Haaland and Thiago, realistically. Start Enzo or Dango Otara. I personally would go with Enzo. Yeah. Hello, Tom. Thoughts on Timber to Lewis Potter and Raul to Strand Larson? Lewis Potter, I don't think will play this week because Sharda's back from his suspension, so completely rules out that as a move for me personally. Bruno G, Timber, and Gahey to Thiago Hill, and I probably wouldn't look at Adley, just with Tavernier maybe being back. Like, we might see maybe some rotation, but that is an area that West Ham have conceded quite a lot of opportunities to on that left. So maybe Adley could be a good short-term pick. I think there's some good fixtures coming up for Fulham, so maybe Harry Wilson is going to be a keep for the next few as well. Yeah, I probably would do it, and then I probably would be tempted to bench and die. Yeah. That's probably where my head would be at on that one. Hides on bench Timber, Gahey, or Mook. I probably would want to bench maybe Timber or Gahey there. Haaland or JP for cap. I think if I've got João Pedro, I'd probably give him the armband ahead of Erling Haaland this week, you know. Morning, Tom. Dubravka or Verbergen? Probably go Verbergen, but I mean, yeah. He did save a penalty earlier in the season against Brentford, so maybe it could happen again. Maybe it could happen again. Yeah, look, it's one of those, isn't it, where they're going to have to measure each player, isn't it? Yeah, I understand selling the Timber. He has been poor. He's been really disappointing in recent weeks. And I think Virgil being sat right there is a perfect opportunity to go and do it. It is. Rayan or Dango or Wilson for Enzo next week. The thing with Rayan is he might start to see some minute rotation with some of the players that Bournemouth have got coming back. So, yeah. Who is the best goalkeeper right now? I have Sanchez and Verbergen. They're both fine, perfectly good picks. Yep. I wouldn't deep either of those picks that much. I would love Arsenal to bottle the league. It would make me laugh. And I would also like to see them bottle the FA Cup against the mighty Mansfield. That would be great. That would be fun and an enjoyable experience. If you are enjoying today's stream, guys, make sure you are hitting that like button. Let's see if we can get today's stream up to 200 likes. It would be massively appreciated. As always, like I said, if you do enjoy the content, hit subscribe. We're on that road to, of course, hitting the big one, the 30k subscribers. We're on that road to that. So yeah, would be great. Hey Tom, should I captain Semenyo or Haaland? I probably would go with Haaland. Hey mate, would you do Saliba to VVD? Also Bowen to Thiago, or roll and do it next week? I think you could leave it and do next week very easily, but you could also make the moves this week. I think Bowen could do quite well, but Thiago, given the poor record that Brighton have got against forwards, he could be a player that really, really goes off this week. So yeah, I think personally for me, I think you could get away with doing them this week, but it wouldn't shock me to maybe see, Arsenal keep it clean and Bowen get something out of that game. But also at the same time, I like both the players that you're bringing in. I think they could have big upside for the next few weeks and get you in a good position as well. I think Dango will still start. Like, we'll have to wait and see. This is why I'm not bringing him in this week. I'm giving him another week, just given, like, obviously the Ramadan situation. So yeah, I'll give him another week and see what he is, because if he starts a full 90, then you're like, well, that's it. Who is better defender than Mook this week, up to 4.7? Hill, Anderson, like, they're probably going to be guys to pick realistically in that price bracket. I probably would say maybe it is going to be like Rice, or maybe moving on JP for Thiago. Probably going to be your bigger priorities there in terms of your moves that you want to make. Yeah, they're probably going to be the ones. Have we had any teams sent in for review? I haven't been checking my phone. I probably should have done. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, we have. Cool. We've had a few of these sent in, so let's go and take a cheeky little gander at some of these. Like I said, guys, if you do want to get your team reviewed by me, we are doing them over in the FPL cartel. So here is the link for that. And if you do send your team, make sure you are putting it in the deadline section and the FPL Tom stream section. This is going to be the place to do it. Cool. I want to buy Thiago. I also want to captain him. I tried to take a -4 and get Hill for Timber and Thiago in for Krupi, but I'm 0.1 million off. Oh, brutal. Brutal. I don't personally think it's worth the -4 to do that. Timber to Hill and Thiago. And for me, yeah, I'm not really necessarily think that's the right move. I think you could be fine this week. You play Timber, we don't even have to play Timber. You could play Gabriel, Chalobah, Munoz, play that 5 across midfield and Haaland, Ekatike up front. I think then you've got, 2 free transfers. You can have a real good look at it. And by that point as well, you might want to move off Munoz. You might want to move off, Timber, for example. And maybe Ekatike disappoints again, and you might want to take him out and actually get your Thiago in that way. So personally for me, I don't think I would do the move. I think you could very easily roll this week. The team looks completely fine. If you're desperate to go and get Thiago in, then I guess I'm trying to think if there is any other defenders around that price point that are playing. Maybe Estev at 3.9 if you're really desperate to go and get him in. But yeah, there you go. Ole. I got 2 free transfers and 4 million in the bank, and I'm thinking of doing Ndai to Wirtz or Mbuemo, then roll until game week 31. Worried about Wirtz's rotation on the end of the season with World Cups, and competition, so thinking of Mbuemo as the better long-term option. I like that. But I'm still leaning towards Wirtz at the moment, but I could also roll since Ndai has Burnley in game week 29. What do you think is the best option? And Dijk is a penalty taker. He can hit those defensive contributions. And I think he's been a little bit unfortunate over the past few weeks. He probably could have got a little bit more out of them, right? I do like the move that you've suggested there with either Wirtz or Mbuemo and then completely just rolling through the team. I really do like that. Getting yourself then into a good position where you've got plenty of transfers to use. I really do like that as a potential option. Obviously, I think going for Wirtz as well, it gives you that Liverpool coverage, which at the moment you don't have, given some of their great fixtures. So I probably would be leaning a little bit more towards Wirtz. So yeah, that's kind of where my head is at with that one. And Dijk to Wirtz, I like that. I do like that. I'm feeling that. You know what? I'm feeling that. Yeah. And Dijk to Wirtz, go with it. I've had a few more sent in. Unable to decide between Hill and O'Reilly. I think I would go with O'Reilly. Yeah, I think I would go with O'Reilly. I think I'd go like that. I think you've got the right team there, Raul. Yeah, I think you're all good for this week. Marcus has sent his team in as well. Looking pretty strong here, mate. Yeah, team looks good. I don't think there's any changes I would necessarily make. He's gone with Haaland captain. Abby has locked in her team as well. A lot of people going with Haaland cap. Oh, she's benched Richards. Oh, I probably would though for Mook. Yeah, that does make sense. That does make sense. Obviously, we spoke about your moves earlier in the week, Abby. But yeah, that team is looking pretty decent for this week. I am getting slow withdrawal symptoms from not captaining Haaland, but yeah, we'll see how things progress. We'll see how things progress throughout today's stream. We might be switching. We might be switching. Who knows? Yeah, I think people are selling off Enzo, which seems a little bit wild, doesn't it? Yeah. Buy Mbeumo or Wirtz. I really think both could be great options over the next few weeks. I really do. Start Bruno F or Saw versus Wolves. I would want both playing. Like, genuinely, I want both of those players playing. So surely there's got to be somebody else in your team that you can drop to get both of those in. Do I sell Fernandes to Palmer? No. Palmer's got this great fixture, right? But then after that, they've got Arsenal, they've got Newcastle, they've got Villa. It's a tough set of games coming up for Chelsea. For me personally, you stick with Palmer for this week if you've got him. You don't bring him in. You just hope that he does nothing, which is very easily the case. Like, he has been quite fortunate with his penalties. But yeah, that's the way that I would lie on that one. Play Anderson or Delo. I would play... I'd probably go Anderson with Defcon. Yeah. Yeah, probably would go with the Defcon one. We are only 5 likes away from 200. So if you are enjoying today's stream, please do obviously hit that like button. It is appreciated. It is appreciated. Luckily, this drop for Enzo won't affect my selling price, so I'm still going to go to wait before... Yeah, if it doesn't affect your selling price, then do it. There's a great thing on the live FPL app now as well that has a little... What's it called? Little arrow next to it. So it says here... Yeah, same for me. So there's a little arrow now on it. And if you click on the little arrow, it says, drop won't affect your selling price. Rayan, Dewsbury, Bruno, Krupi, Martinez, Somerville, Senesi, Dango, all predicted to go up later tonight. Gokeres, Zubamendi, Trossard, Foden, Waltermada, Cherky, Enzo, Cunha, and Rice, all predicted to go down tonight as well. So yeah, there we go. Thank you, Manny says start Nunes or Alderente, KDH or Mbeumo. Keep up the good work. I would personally go with Nunes, and I would go with Mbeumo on those ones as well. Enzo or Wilson, you play Enzo this week. Buy Hill or Mbeumo or Wirtz next week. I probably would buy them next week. Yeah. Have gone for Mohamed Salah as my captain. I like it. I do like it. Forest do concede a lot of opportunities down their right-hand side, so it does make sense. It does make sense. Enzo or Wilson, yeah, we said that one. We went with Enzo for that one. We have absolutely smashed through 200 likes, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so much. Like I said, your support is honestly really appreciated. Yesterday, I've said it a few times in today's stream, but yesterday was the 4-year anniversary of me creating this channel. And to be in the position that we're in right now is something that I never imagined would happen. So thank you very much, like I said, for your continued support. It really is appreciated. Let's see where the next few years take us. Who knows? I want to get the 100k plaque. Like, that is, like, it's in my head. I want to see it on the wall. Yes. Would you keep Munoz long term? I probably would give him this week, and then like you've got that switch to Van Dijk available if you really wanted to go for it. I mean, if you've got the 5 free transfers, mate, then yeah, go for it. Go for it. Like, that's probably one of the only times I would say maybe doing the goalkeeper drop when you've got the 5 free in hand to kind of have a little bit of a play around with it. So yeah, why not? Go for it, man. Yeah, go for it. If you feel like you can make those moves, then go for it. Scubbity bop, scubbity bop. I personally wouldn't go and get Dango for a hit right now. How do I join the Discord? If you click the link in, I'll just put it in the chat. Hang on. Let me put it in the chat for you. If you use this link, it'll take you to our sign up page, and that is where you join the FPL cartel Discord. All right. There you go. Dango, Otara, or Elliot Anderson. I really think Elliot Anderson could just do a very steady job. We're all looking at Dango and thinking he could be a very exciting pickup. But at the same time, we could look at it and go, Elliot Anderson's just picking up 4 every single week, isn't he? So, yeah. I mean, you could bench Timber. Depends who you're benching him for, I guess. Rice or Timber sell. I think probably maybe Timber, given the fact that he's only got an 80% across the predictions for starting this week. He probably would be the one that I would axe. Yeah. Thiago Cap. Yeah, I mean, I am getting a little bit of cold feet. I think we might make the switch over to Haaland. Like the captains, the coin did speak. He is top of my model for this week is Haaland. Like he is the top player for predicted points. Thiago literally is purely because Brighton conceded the 4th most goal involvements to strikers in the league, 2nd for expected goals from strikers as well. So, I think Thiago is a good option and could very easily hit a double-digit haul. But yeah. Yeah, that is probably the only thing with Elliot Anderson as well. Is we might see maybe a drop-off. I personally don't think there are 3 Brentford assets to pick from. I think it is Thiago. Then I probably think it is maybe like a Sharda or a Dango. Like, I don't think I would personally pick any of the defenders. I think probably Timber starts. Like, look, 80% of it have him still starting. So I think personally he probably still starts. Yeah. Which one should I captain between Haaland, Bruno, and Rodgers? I'm 670k and I need to gain some rank. I still think Haaland is still a fine option for this week to of course look at in terms of captaincy. Yeah, I still think he's a good option to look at. Yeah, I saw the Coyote the baby reveal where he slung the ball. That was great. I think personally I would maybe leave it this week. Maybe look at another week. I would probably start Evan Nielsen ahead of Wilson this week. Would you bench boost with Dub, Evan Nielsen, Maguire, and Anderson? I think you maybe could, but I personally probably would wait. Yeah, I personally probably would wait for that one. I personally don't like goalkeeper transfers. I think it's like just a position that, it's hard to call when players are going to score well and stuff like that. So yeah, for me personally, I probably wouldn't go for it. Captain JP over Haaland if I don't own Palmer. Yeah, I would. For me personally, I would probably say Palmer, João Pedro, Haaland is probably like the right captaincy order. That's probably the right captaincy order for me anyway. That's where I would personally be looking at it. Cunha for Sharda this week or wait next week, currently starting Hill. I think you could very easily wait next week, but I don't mind Sharda as a pickup. Yeah, again, I think you could very easily keep Bowen this week. I don't think he's necessarily like a player that you immediately need to sell. So, yeah. Would you buy Semenyo for Rice? As long as I've got a plan for game week 31, whether that be a free hit, whether that be, I've got transfers banked up already or other players that can, of course, cover Semenyo, then yeah, I think that is fine to do. Start one of Wilson, DCL, Senesi, and Alderente. I personally would probably go Alderente. Yeah. I personally would go Mook. I would definitely be playing my Sunderland defenders this week. I really, really would be playing my Sunderland defenders this week. I think they are great options to, of course, be looking at this game week. We just had a team sent in, so we'll go and check on that in a second. Yeah, let's go and have a look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Let's have a look. Wrong one. That one. Jay has sent his team. He says, I've taken out Chow for cash and I'm sticking with Thiago as captain. Don't care about my goalkeepers. Keep up the good work. Yeah, genuinely, like goalkeepers, it's one of those where I won't deep it too much. I rate the Matty Cash pick, bringing him in. I do rate it. I think he could be a very good pickup for this game week. Could, like I said, just given the fact that Leeds have conceded the most goal involvements to right backs in the league, Matty Cash obviously is a very attacking fullback as well. He could be an option that really does explode this week. Also going with the Thiago cap, I do like it. I do like it. I am getting a little bit of cold feet myself, and that's not because Thiago. I think it is more just a scarcity kind of thing with Haaland and the coin and everything that went with it. Yeah, not a bad rotation there. Like I said, I think if I've got any Chelsea players, whether that be Palmer, whether that be João Pedro, I probably do give him the armband ahead of Haaland. Yeah. Play Nico O'Reilly or Hill. I probably would actually play Nico O'Reilly for that one. Yeah, I think Roofs as a goalkeeper as well is also pretty steady Eddie, isn't he? No, I think you could just sub Hill or Anderson in. If you're really unsure, then yeah, I think you could just sub Hill or like Anderson in. I have 4 free transfers and already wildcarded, thinking about Rice and Timber to Vert and Cash as 2.4 million. I like both of those moves, yeah. Can you tell me some good captaincy options currently on João Pedro? I think he's a fine option. If you've got Palmer, also a pretty decent option. Haaland, also a pretty good option. Thiago, Rodgers, they're probably the players I would be sort of considering for this week. Am I rolling? Yeah, I think I'm going to roll through. Gives me 2 next week. Can assess the landscape. If Timber doesn't play, then we'll get like Hill or Anderson in. That's perfectly fine for this game week. I don't mind that. Saw captain. Again, it's a big differential, and I think he's probably already a good enough differential where you don't need the captaincy points from him to gain decent amount of rank. But Wolves have conceded a decent amount of opportunities from right wingers, and I think Saul could have a very good game. Like I said, I probably would go captain João Pedro ahead of Haaland for me this week as well. I don't think I would personally risk Ryan now with Tavernier back. I just personally, wouldn't risk it for me anyway. If you are enjoying today's stream, guys, let's see if we can get this bad boy up to 250 likes. So if you are enjoying it, make sure you're hitting that like button. It is always appreciated on the channel as always. And we'll see where we end up in terms of captaincy for this week. That's kind of the last big decision we've got to make. Is do we go for João Pedro? Not João Pedro. Do we go for Haaland or do we go for Thiago? They're the 2 final decisions we've got to make this week. I would play Mook over Wilson. I personally would probably maybe look at the Brentford boys ahead of Ryan and Adley for me personally. If you want to send your team in for review, make sure you are joining the FPL Cartel Discord. This is obviously my exclusive Discord with Golden Goal, who is also live right now as well. Oop, nearly just pulled all my wires out as I was moving my leg. Hello, mates. On a wildcard in 28, so want to take a punt this week. Either Saliba to Cash or Garner to Yano or something like that. What would you rather? I think given the fact that Leeds have conceded the most goal involvements to right backs, I'd be more tempted with the Cash one as like a 1 week punt. I think that could be more explosive. So yeah. Hincape, Verts, and Ekatike for game week 28, or Gabriel, Dango, and Ekatike. Probably the second one. Bro, there's a lot of questions flying around. I'll try and answer as many as I can. Please stream with Golden Goal together. We do. We have a weekly podcast which is in the FPL cartel. We do that every week. We sit down, we chat about our teams, we answer your guys' questions. One of the main perks of being in the FPL cartel is you do get me and Tom together. There you go. Timber, Mook, or Hill. I probably would go Mook, Timber, Hill in that order. So yeah, there you go. Have 2 free transfers with 4.4 million in the bank. Yeah, I like the front three you're trying to build there. Thiago, Ek, and Haaland. I rate that. I think that's pretty decent. I think Enzo's a fine hold, and so is Sanchez. Like, I know they've got some more difficult fixtures, but they're not essential players I would be like immediately wanting to sell out my side. Benching headache. Bench 1, Verts, Bruno, Saw, Enzo, Rice, Thiago, João Pedro. I think for me there, you're either benching Rice or Verts. They're probably the two that I think I would probably go for. Yeah. They'd be the two for me that would end up on the bench. I mean, all of them are great differentials. I just think Rayan, maybe with Tavernier back, might see some reduced minutes. Adley could do great, as West Ham have conceded the most goal involvements from left wingers. So that could be a decent area where they do well. Shada and Dango, I also like as well, given the fact that Brentford have got some great games coming up. Hill, Timber, Tete, Lafi, start 3. I would probably go with Saliba, Hill, and Lafi. Yeah, those would be the 3 I would go for. Those would be the 3 for me. Yeah, cheers for the positive review there, Andy. Appreciated, mate. Bench 2 out of Rice, Timber, Verts, and Mook. I probably would go Timber and either Verts or Rice there. So yeah, let's go Timber and Verts. I think they could both be susceptible to some rotation. I probably would say maybe Adley for this week, given the goals conceded. So yeah. Mings, I saw in the Villa one that he wasn't 100% predicted to start. I think it was like a 43% chance. So, yeah, again, probably wouldn't risk it. Yeah, probably wouldn't risk it. Replace Cherky with Rodgers this week? Yes, 100%. Yeah, I'd be up for that. I like that move. Mings or Maguire? I would play Maguire this week. Again, just uncertainty around Mings starting with some of the Villa prediction lineup, so that would probably be enough to put me off. Do keep your questions coming in. Anything you do want to ask me ahead of the deadline? Happy to answer any questions you might have. Who did Golden Goal end up going with captaincy? Was it Haaland in the end? Wilson or Evan Nielsen. A little bit scared that Evan Nielsen gets benched. I haven't seen any Bournemouth predicted lineups. I think he should still start, but if you are scared about that, then maybe go for Wilson this week. Do keep your likes coming in, guys. We are close to 250 on today's stream, which is very, very good. What is my total points? I can't remember off the top of my head, but we're having a pretty mid-season, to be honest. Not great. Not great at all. Tell me the best wild card. It's quite hard with the wild card because you've got to kind of predict the doubles, the other side of it a little bit. So it's a little bit hard to go for it. Let's hope, man. Let's hope. Let's hope we can get back to hitting some good scores this week. It would be nice to get some good scores. Timber for Virgil or Hill. Depends what you need. If you need the money, go for Hill. If you don't need the money, then go for Virgil. Anderson or Rayan from Bournemouth. I think I'd start Rayan this week. Personally, I probably would look to bench either Tark or Anderson there. That would probably be where my head would be at in terms of benchings this week. Do I think Nkape will continue to play 90? I think he'll start. I think he was in a lot of the predicted lineups for this week. However, I personally wouldn't be buying him. Again, I wouldn't be buying any Arsenal assets this week. We've had their main, obviously, fixtures, and Tavernier's not going to play this week. But yeah, he should be back fairly soon. And when he is, he will be a great pickup. Set piece share, penalty share. Yeah, some good fixtures. Do I think Sharda starts today? Yeah, I think Sharda comes back in. Manifesting for a João Pedro Hall and a Kelleher clean sheet. Yeah, let's have a Thiago Hall. Let's have one of those, eh? I'm genuinely still unsure which way to go with captaincy. Because Haaland, effective ownership wise, will probably destroy me if he does anything. But Thiago does look like there is a lot of data supporting that could be a really good pickup this week. So yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? I don't think personally I would look at Wirtz. No. Not for me, probably. I mean, you could argue the same about Haaland, though. Like, they're both very hit and miss, aren't they? Both very hit and miss this season. Konate over Van Dijk could also be pretty decent. Yeah, I don't mind if you take Mbeumo over Rodgers. But hey, look, that's why we have the penalty merchants. What's Palmer been doing the past few weeks? It's been mostly penalties. It's where he's picked up his points. It's been mostly penalties. So yeah. I would like to see how both Mbeumo and Wirtz perform this week before, of course, making that move. Start Senesi or Hill. Probably go Hill. Yeah, his DEFCON strike rate has been ridiculous in past few weeks. He's definitely. It looks like he's definitely taken them off Senesi. He looks like the aggressor at the moment. So yeah, probably would go with Hill. His, like I said, DEFCON numbers have been great. Is Haaland a good captaincy choice this week? Yes. If you look across most models, he's still one of the top names that does come out. On my own model, Solio review, he's still top for predicted points. I personally wouldn't be looking to take a -4 for Palmer this week. Look, it's one good fixture. Then they're heading to some more difficult games, and I feel like there'll be other opportunities to look at other players during that period as well. Yeah, Hill's been great for that. And of course, West Ham have conceded the most goal involvements to centre-backs in the league as well. So Hill could be a great shout this week. Should I get Gahey anytime soon? The only problem with that is, of course, the blank in game week 31 for Manchester City. So you'd have to navigate that. Bench, Verbergen, Senesi, Wilson, Krupi. Do I bench boost? No. No, I wouldn't bench boost. Not for me, anyway. If you're enjoying today's stream, guys, let's see if we can get the stream up to 250 likes. We need six, and it'd be great to obviously hit that milestone. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you're hitting subscribe. We're on that road to 30,000 subscribers as well. For me personally, I probably would go for João Pedro ahead of Thiago for captaincy this week if I had to pick between the two. Yeah, that's probably the way that I would go with that one. Rodgers or Mbeumo on the wild card. I really like both of them. I think both could be great pickups over the next few weeks. Triple captain Thiago. I'm a Brentford fan, and I'm going to the game. Look, if you fancy it, then go for it. Semenyo captain. Don't hate it. Should I get Van Dijk in for Timber? Yes, I think that is a pretty reasonable move to be making this week. Start to Timber, Hall, Talk, Anderson, Mane. I would probably go with Timber and Anderson. Start Hill or KDH. I probably would go Hill. Yeah, go Hill on that one. Choose two, Hill, Anderson, Richards. Here, let's go Richards and let's go Elliot Anderson. Let's go those ones. Wise Hill on the bench, only a 20% chance of a clean sheet. For Bournemouth, they've also conceded the second most away goals in the Premier League. That is why he's ended up on my bench. So yeah, hopefully that clears things up. Do I play Hill over Munoz? Definitely not. Wolves have conceded the second most goal involvements to right backs. So it looks like a great game for Munoz. Anything you do want to ask me ahead of the deadline, guys, do let me know. And Dijk, keep or sell. I think maybe give him one more week. He is a penalty taker, can hit defensive contributions. Probably a little bit unfortunate in the last game not to come away with at least a better double-digit haul, but yeah, he's all right. He does the job. Yeah, Bournemouth are really poor away from home. That is why Hill's on my bench. Yeah, I mean, White definitely could start ahead of Timber this week. It would not shock me to see that maybe happen. I could see it happening. I really could. Start two, Hill, Richards, Anderson, Alderente. For me, I would go Alderente and Richards. Start one out of Senesi, Gahey, Wilson. I'd go Gahey. Play Richards, Alderente, or Timber. Probably go Alderente, but Richards is very, very close given the fixture that he's got this week. Over 400 of you in the stream now, guys. So if you are enjoying the content, make sure you are hitting that like button. It is really appreciated as always. Haaland up to 40% on the captaincy poll vote now. Ahead of Palmer, ahead of João Pedro, and ahead of Bruno Fernandes. Looks like Haaland is... A lot of people are seriously considering him for captaincy this week. Wow. I wasn't expecting him to be this high, but here we are, I guess. Maybe I've got to go for it and just cover myself off a little bit. Play Mook or Hill. I would rather play Mook. No, I wouldn't personally pick him ahead of Chalobah. Chalobah is a great player for points per game. I would personally leave Bowen ahead of Ekitike this week as well. Delo or Hill. Probably go Hill, just down to the fact that West Ham have conceded the most goal involvements to centre-backs. We've now smashed through 250 likes on today's stream, guys. So thank you very much. It is a very, very good stream. It's been a great stream, to be fair. Lots of questions, lots of activity. So really do appreciate it. I'd personally go with Henderson in goal. And Mbeumo just because he doesn't blank in game week 31. Would you do Gahey to Thiago or Tarkowski to Van Dijk? I think I'd rather do the Thiago move. I think he's just a good long-term player you probably want to have within the side. Same with Van Dijk, but I think that one could maybe wait a week. Yeah, that one could probably wait a week. Yeah, I do get that. I do get that. And the coin did say go with Haaland. And I think maybe for just purely for potentially scarcity of effective ownership, I might end up back on Haaland. But, you know, he's not got a great record. It is pretty hit and miss. Newcastle, there's so much like goes for it, against it. Thiago's is like, the numbers are there, you know. there we have it. A lot of people asking me about why no Hill. Bournemouth only have a 20% chance of a clean sheet this week. I know he's been hitting DEFCONs for fun and scoring plenty of goal involvements. I think that could very easily happen again this week, given the fact that West Ham have conceded the most goal involvements to centre-backs. But Bournemouth are really poor away from home. So, I'm banking on a guy for a clean sheet here. Arsenal have better clean sheet numbers, so Timber is going to start ahead of Hill for me in this one. Do. Very, very true. Like I always do think that is a bit like bullshit, isn't it? When a player doesn't have like a good record against someone, it is kind of one of those, isn't it? Where he didn't have a good record. Oh well, and then they go and slam in about 5. I don't know if Stack's back available, so he'd probably be the one. If not, I probably would go Wilson there. Yeah, I probably would. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, I will try and answer as many questions as I possibly can. Who to start, Timber, Gahey, or Hill? I would probably go with Gahey. I probably would go Anderson ahead of Hill this week. It could be Enzo's last week in my team. He could very easily stay. Yeah. Play one of Evan Nielsen, Elliot Anderson, or Rice. Rice for me. I'd start Gahey ahead of Timber and Hill. Do keep the questions coming in, guys. We'll stay live till all the big boys go live about 11:30. And then we'll let all them guys do their things. Your Andys, your Raptors, your Harrys. The usual suspects. I think if I had João Pedro or Palmer, I would look to them for captaincy instead. Yeah. What's Thiago's ownership at? 31%. Haaland has come down a little bit. He's still been he's still 5, 11, 5. I know he had that spell there, but he is a guy that can hit. I mean, they both can hit big peaks, can't they? They both can hit big peaks. Yeah. Yep, Timber over Hill. Just better clean sheet odds. Bournemouth are pants away from home. Like, I would be very surprised if Bournemouth kept a clean sheet today. Like I said, I'd rather start Timber ahead of Hill. And I mean that is what I've literally done with my team. Start one of Anderson, Delo, or Collins. I mean, Collins is not even getting like game time at the moment, so I probably personally wouldn't go for him. Palmer, I think, is only like 15, 16% ownership. So might not do that much damage. Palmer at 17. There we go. Yeah. Anderson or Hill? Again, I probably would go Anderson. Yeah. Start Rice or Enzo? I would go with Enzo this week. Krupia or Mbuemo? I mean, that's an easy one. You go in Mbuemo every day of the week. I meant Tarkowski, not Collins. Whoops. Still probably stick with the decision I went. Hill gets assists, Defcon though. I mean, he's not. This is the thing. I wouldn't be expecting Hill to get assists every single week. Yeah, he can hit Defcon, but if they lose 3-0 or 4-0, he's coming away with 2 points or a 3-pointer. Like I said, Bournemouth are really bad away from home. They're genuinely one of the worst sides for goals. Well, the second worst side for goals conceded behind Wolves away from home. West Ham aren't like pushovers at the moment either. They've been building up some momentum. Just looking at the Rob T numbers, let's have a look what we've got here. So Bournemouth have gone up slightly to 21% chance of a clean sheet, but Arsenal are at 40. So I'm always going to play those other guys ahead of that. Leeds have actually gone up slightly in terms of their projected goal numbers. Same with Newcastle as well. City slightly down, Palace slightly down as well in terms of their projected goal numbers for this week. Yeah, Haaland doesn't score. I get that. Like head-to-head records, he doesn't have a great record against Newcastle, does he? If I didn't have Thiago, who would I play? Probably would be Hill. Probably would be, but I'm not, Hill or Anderson probably would be the ones that I would go for, and Elliot Anderson midfield one would probably be the one. Bam, bam, bam. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Like I said, we'll be wrapping up in a minute, and we'll be letting all the big boys go and do their thing. I'd rather play Anderson this week. Yeah, I'd rather play Anderson this week. Yeah, Pedro's been unreal, genuinely unreal, and that's why I said, like, if I've got him this week, I probably would give him the armband. Captain headache, Ekatike, JP, Bruno, Thiago, Semenyo. For me, I think you're looking at João Pedro there. Yeah. Given the fact that Burnley, I think, are third for goals conceded from forwards, João Pedro is the pick. Yeah, João Pedro is the pick to go for. Any Chow or Garner replacements? I mean, you're probably looking at like a Dango Otara in that midfield area. Chow, you're probably looking. I mean, they've got an all right fix. Like, once you get past these fixtures, they're all right. And then he's got a game in game week 31. So you necessarily might not have to replace him. Otherwise, it would be Hill or Anderson within that cheaper bracket. Maybe a Canate, maybe a Virgil van Dijk if you've got the money to stretch up as well. There you go. Rodgers captain, we did have it on him earlier. Leeds have conceded the third most goal involvements to Cams. So could be one that maybe we look at. Like I had it earlier on Rodgers earlier in the stream. So yeah. Hi mate, love your content. Watching from the US. Quick question: out of Anderson, Wilson, Rodon, and Richards, which three would you bench? Appreciate your thoughts. Yeah, no worries. I think Rodon enters the bench this week. Probably Wilson and Anderson. I think you play Richards. I know it's not the greatest fixture, but there's still a high probability of a clean sheet this week. So that's probably the way that I would go with it for me. Let me know in the chat where you are coming from today as well, guys. Interesting, as always, to see where we got people coming in from. United States. I think we've had people from India in earlier. Let me know where you're coming in from today. Bring in Thiago with 2 free transfers, or just play Wilson. I think I would be tempted to bring him in. Yeah, if you got the transfers in the bank to do it, don't mind that. Should we sell our Chelsea players next week? Probably, yeah. Probably. Tam FPL's gone Mansfield. Yeah, sure. Sure, pal. Quite a few from South Africa in. Very nice. Hope you're doing good, guys. Hope you're doing good. Australia, Stockport. Morning, I'm a dilemma. Can you help me start 2 out of Dango, Krupi, and Senesi? Probably would go Dango and Senesi. Up the Stags. Arsenal FA Cup upset on the cards. We can hope. We can hope, can't we? Westchester, USA. Very nice. The Kremlin. Falls on João Pedro captaincy, all the way coming from South Africa. Very nice. Yeah, decent. Berry Hill. It's nice round there. Nice round there. Cheers, man. Appreciate that one. Palmer or João Pedro as captain. I would be more tempted with Palmer just because you get the penalty appeal, and that's always something that I am looking for with my players. But yeah, there it is. Should we sell Timber? I think if you're going for Virgil van Dijk, I don't hate that as a move. Yeah, I don't hate that as a move. We only need 5 more subscribers to hit 27k. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit and subscribe. I'm just going to quickly get a drink of water, and then we'll wrap up, obviously, the final 5 minutes before we let the big boys go live. So get your questions in, and we'll smash them out. All right, let's have a look what we've got. Start Timber or Mook at home. I personally would go with Mook. Should I sell Lacroix to Virgil? Yeah, I probably would. Pedro, Strand Larson, or Haaland? Are you asking for captaincy? I personally probably look at Pedro, then Haaland, then Strand Larson. Hi Tom. Bench 2 of Chalobah, Alderente, O'Reilly, and Anderson. I personally would go with O'Reilly and Anderson would be the players I would bench there. I'd play Alderente and Chalobah. Have Gabriel, Timber, Hill, both bench defenders injured. Would you make a defensive transfer? Yeah, if you've got injured defenders, then replace them. I always think you should replace your injured players probably first before making some more luxurious moves as well. I like both captain in João Pedro or Palmer. I think both are great. I think just for the penalty appeal, I probably would go with Cole Palmer. So yeah, I mean, it is something that always does cross my mind when looking at players as well. Yep. Best of luck to everyone this game week. Obviously, like I said, if you have enjoyed today's stream, want to see more content from me, make sure you are hitting that like button, subscribe button, all that good stuff as we're on that road to 30,000 subscribers before the end of the season. I'd actually play Calvert-Lewin, surprisingly. I don't really like benching penalty takers. It's something that I say to people most weeks, and it comes true most weeks. Start 1, Hill, Anderson, Wilson, or Calvert-Lewin. I would personally be tempted to either go with Hill or Calvert-Lewin there. Yeah, for me personally. Those would be the two that I would be looking at. Sell Bruno F to Palmer for a 1-week punt. Not for me. Start Chalobah or Gahey. Chalobah all the way. Chalobah all the way on that bad boy. Yeah, easy. Easy. Looking at the captaincy poll then, obviously we are coming towards the end of today's stream. Looking at the captaincy poll then, 40% are going for Haaland this week, a very big number. 35% on Palmer, 16% on João Pedro, and 9% on Bruno Fernandes as well. Obviously, if you want to come and chat to me after today's stream, get your team reviewed, come and check out the model, enter our last man standing competition, all that good stuff is going off in the FPL cartel. Come and get yourself involved in there. Completely free for 7 days. There's me, there's Golden Goal, plenty of members in there as well now. We've got a really good and vibrant community. So yeah, come and check it out. Come and check it out. Of course, if you have enjoyed today's stream as well, make sure you're hitting that like button on the way out. It really is appreciated. It helps boost obviously the channel up in the algorithm and stuff like that. And yeah, I've really enjoyed today's stream. It's been a good fun, good laugh. I've enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, what more can I say, to be honest? What more can I say? We'll answer some few final questions before we wrap up. Rice to Rogers, appreciate your thoughts. Yeah, I don't mind it. I think Rice could be an all right option, though, for this week. Should I captain Thiago instead of JP as he's on penalties? It could be one of the deciding factors. That is something I always do look for when I am captaining a player, is do they have penalty share? Because it is one of those things that, as we've seen with Palmer over the past few weeks, can make a player more broken. But I would still probably go with João Pedro, just given the fact that Burnley are really bad at conceding goal involvements from strikers. And I think it's a great fixture. They've got some great projected goal numbers, so it could be a great one. Konate or Mook? I think I'll probably go Mook still this week. Would you sell Bowen to Thiago or just roll? I think you could roll, but I also think, the reason I've gone with Thiago is I do think he could be a great captaincy option or a great pickup this week as well. So Bowen could still be a very tidy player that does great. Bournemouth not good away from home, the second most goals conceded on their travels so far this season. So it's not the best fixture in the world. So maybe they could get something out of that one. Right, guys, we need one more subscriber to hit 26.8. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe if you're in the comments. And yeah, once we've done that, we'll wrap up today's stream and we'll there we go. Captain Tran Lawson, probably not for me, mate. Not for me. I know he's up against his former club, but yeah, probably not for me. I think there are plenty of better options as well. Yep, subscribing is completely free as well. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button. Helps the channel grow. Helps me, continue the stream that we're on. And like I said, throughout the stream today, it's been 4 years yesterday since we started the channel. So thank you for everybody that's obviously helped it build to the place that it is. And let's see where we can keep this baby going. Anderson to Dango or Rayan. I think with Rayan, you've got Tavernier coming back next week, so that probably would put me off him as a pick. Dango as well is fasting at the moment for Ramadan, so also that might be something that maybe you want to consider as well. That potentially is something that maybe could have an impact on him. Right, guys, we are going to leave it there. Thank you very much for your continued support on today's stream. Massively appreciate it. Massively appreciate everybody that's been in today, commented, asked for the team reviews, all that good stuff. Like I said, if you want to come and chat to me, use the pinned comment or the link in the description for the FPL cartel. I'll be reviewing teams over there while I'm sat in the gym and doing stuff like that. Ask me any questions as well. That is where we'll go. And yeah, thank you very much. Like I said, guys, if you did enjoy the content, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and the best of luck for FPL Game Week 27.